Welcome to the Scale Model Podcast. In this podcast, we aim to entertain, inform, and promote the hobby of scale model kit building with interviews, reviews, and news about the hobby. The Scale Model Podcast currently is recorded bi-weekly and is available where your favorite podcasts are found, including iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitcher, as well as our website at scalemodelpodcast.com. We also publish extra video content and complete episodes on our YouTube channel. Feel free to like and subscribe to our Facebook page at facebook.com/scalemodelpodcast. There's also a Patreon page at patreon.com/scalemodelpodcast. Your support helps with the podcast hosting costs and enter you into giveaways and exclusive items for our Patreon members. Welcome to episode 41 of the Scale Model Podcast, sponsored by Goodman Models. My name is Stuart Clark, and I'm once again deep in the deepest, darkest recesses of Top Secret Lab 38A here at Goodman Heavy Industries with my good friend and co-host, Mr. Anthony Goodman. How are you, sir?
I'm great.
That's
How are
good.
You?
Not bad. I haven't seen this secret lab. This is a new one. It
This
looks
is where we
very
make
similar to
all
the old
the staff stay up.
This is where the magic happens.
You take you take the drugs and you stay up all the time.
I wouldn't want to admit that on
full
a public
readiness.
podcast. Full readiness. Okay, I'm just saying it looks a lot like the other ones, but
Yeah.
you know. All right.
Trick of the eye.
Exactly. So as always, we've been really busy.
Yes.
We've been it's been a busy couple of weeks, especially on the editing side.
Yeah.
We've had some awesome videos to our webpage.
Yes.
So we want to encourage people to check out scalemodelpodcast.com. So there is an awesome video of our review video number 1, we're calling it, on the Quincy Row in 1/72nd scale from Moscato. You're
new.
very excited about that.
Oh, I'm so pumped.
Yeah, you've been working away at that. So that's an awesome video. And we also have another awesome video with actually the Super Stand review for the Goodman sanding blocks. And we're actually having our interview today is with the guy that's actually made that, Sean.
Yeah.
So that's going to be cool. We're also now available on Spotify. So the podcast is actually there. That took a few hoops to get through. For whatever reason, just not to be too technical, it just wasn't working.
Yeah.
So I got on the phone, and eventually between some phones and some emails, we got it going.
Excellent.
So we'll have a link on that to the page. And as well, we also encourage, now that we're doing a lot more content, we're encouraging people, if you want, you can sign up on the website. You can sign up with your email address. It's perfectly safe. We don't reuse it for anything. And anytime a new post comes out to the webpage, whether it's a podcast or news or a new video thing, you will get an email. And that works really well. So we do recommend that. And then we also had a contest.
We did.
What was the contest?
So we had a super sanding single giveaway open to sort of the general listenership.
Yes.
And
But they had to do something.
That's right, they did, and we extended it to give people more opportunity to get in because we're just those kind of guys.
I know.
Thinking of you.
We are.
Thinking of you, dear listener.
So so it was awesome. So we had quite a few. So I basically assigned a number to each of them.
Yep. Whips. You had to submit your work in progress photo.
Yes. So I took that. We had both emails, a couple of emails, and a lot on Facebook.
Yep.
So I basically assigned a number to all of them, threw it into random.org, and then hit roll or whatever. And the number came up. It was actually number 1. It was actually the first person who posted. So Chad Salami, I hope I'm not slaughtering that, Chad. He's actually the winner.
Chad Salami.
Yeah.
Salmi.
Salami?
I
Salami?
read
I'm
Salmi.
sorry. Did I say salami? That's terrible. I'm getting
Chad.
as bad as Dave or Dave on the bench or Lionel.
It's Dave. It's Dave who is inventing a new language.
Oh, Dave invents the language. I do. There's
that's okay. We'll keep it straight.
There's Lionel Strange on a Modeler's Life podcast.
Yeah.
He's just as bad.
Chad Salmi.
Yep. So
congratulations.
He's the winner, and he submitted 2 work in progresses he was working on. He was working on a Monogram Revell 148th B25J gun nose, nearly complete, and a new mold Revell BF109 G6.
Excellent.
Yeah, we saw the picture. Looked really good.
Nice.
So we're going to obviously we'll have the picture of that. We'll post that. I will reach out to you, Chad, with and then all I'll need a shipping address and which sanding block single you want.
Yes.
And we'll get that in the mail.
You get to choose which one you'd like to
we'll get
try
that in the mail to you right away. If you don't mind, Chad, when you get it, please post a picture
Yeah.
of it. You can have it on either with you and the standing block or the standing block on your workbench if you're shy.
That'd be
That's
great.
fine.
Yeah,
that
that'd
would
be
be
wonderful.
awesome. We really appreciate the feedback. So congratulations. We are going to have another contest in probably a month or so.
Yeah.
That'll be an exciting one.
It's gonna be a good
That'll
one.
be a good one. So yeah, so that's kind of our current news and behind the scenes stuff. So there'll be some more video reviews coming and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're gonna try and get more things out there.
All right. And you had something show up in the mailbag.
Yes, Stuart Malone wrote in. He is the president of IPMS Great Plains, and they're in
Like Kansas City.
Kansas.
Kansas.
Yes.
Kansas
right?
area, yeah.
Kansas State.
Yeah, Kansas City area and stuff like that. Yeah.
And Stuart, thank you very much. He purchased a set of super standing blocks, but he also we got a chatting. And so he is the president of the local club there, and they have KC Con coming up in 2020, March 14th. So we want to give a shout out to that crew and their upcoming show, and we hope a lot of people attend. It's going to be a good event.
Yeah, I've heard of them before, actually.
Yeah,
if I
IPMS Great
recall.
Plains.
Yeah, Great Plains and that. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be a good show. They've got an excellent,
Nice website.
nice website to the webpage.
Lots of info.
Yeah, now what's interesting with this one's, again, we've been talking about this a little bit.
Yeah.
All the arbor entries are going to be judged using AMP rules, and all other is going to be judged using IPMS rules. I haven't seen that too often. So they obviously have a
good
good
for them.
AMPS contingent. So that'll be
yeah.
that'll be interesting. So so the IPMS theme is Victory this year. And they must be working with KC Amps. So KC Amps worn into China.
Well, isn't that how it should be,
So
right?
yeah,
Collaborative.
exactly. So see both clubs
KC
are doing
Amps,
it. So we
yeah. Awesome.
we shouldn't ignore KC. So we'll add that link as well.
Yep, there will be a link there. It looks like a great show. And hey, man, the just the entry fees alone are really great.
Yeah.
$5 to enter one model.
$10 for two or more.
Two or more.
Total.
And then,
so you can enter 20 models and $10.
Yeah, wow. And then juniors are free, which is really and just
$2.
the admission $2 a person. That's
And
excellent.
Kids under 12 are free.
Excellent.
So yeah, it looks really good.
So it's in city. Oh, it's in
Kansas City, Missouri, which is at the border.
Yeah.
See, people don't realize the Kansas City you think of, is actually in Missouri. Yeah, because it's right on the border.
Yeah.
Yeah, that throws people. There was actually two Kansas cities, just to be weird.
Well, there
So,
you
yeah.
go. So we'll
well
have
right
the link there.
yeah,
Check it out. Looks
pretty
like a
well
great
right
show.
in the geographic center. So yeah, IPMS Great Plains, and this is IPMS KCM. So yeah, we look forward.
Yeah, that's
Hopefully it would be great if Stuart, if you're listening, make sure you send us back an email with afterwards. If you have a link to a photo gallery or whatever,
Yeah,
let us know.
please
And
do,
We'll throw it
and
back
we'll
up. We're
follow
happy
up with you, but that's
we're
awesome.
happy to promote that. So very cool. Okay, onwards.
Thanks for writing in, Stuart.
Onwards onwards and upwards to the latest hobby announcements.
Yeah.
So first one
What's happening?
is what the cancellation of the 59th Shizuoka hobby show in May. This is a pretty big deal.
I think this is like the show in Japan.
This is the show in Japan. A
Yeah.
lot of the manufacturers have.
This is where they come and they bring their new releases.
It's a huge industry event. It's a huge.
Yeah, we get a lot of new release info coming from it.
Well, they have the industry days, the first few,
Yeah.
and then public
Yeah.
on the weekend and that. Yeah, so 15 was going to be the 15th. It was being held from Wednesday to the Sunday.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but again, with the coronavirus going on, that's what they're doing. There's a lot of things being canceled.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems in Japan. I think right now it's picking up. The
And I
virus
think-
itself is picking up.
And I think
steam
they're
there.
better safe than sorry because, I've heard some people say, well, why are they announcing it so early? Well, again, it takes time to organize things, and if you have to buy tickets or you don't want to all of a sudden cancel at the last minute.
Yeah, it's
with
better
the
to be
planning and all
cautious.
that.
and-
Yeah, exactly. And I know there was quite a few, like Andy from Andy's Hobby Headquarters. He was planning to go over. Where now he's not because they were going to do some factory tours and that. And, so it's
Another
just
time is better.
unfortunate. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, most unfortunate. We always get some news there, but hopefully we'll hear some other news and, our thoughts go to them, the organizers.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to maybe reschedule it or if that's just too challenging.
They
and
haven't
just-
said anything.
they'll
I
just
think that
skip
would
it
be
till next year.
challenging because you gotta have the convention space.
This stuff is set up well in advance.
Well in advance. So
That's too bad. But Better to be
Better
safe than sorry,
safe
right?
than sorry. So the other thing that some better news for a show that did happen was the Northwest Society. So our good friend Scale Canadian, he actually we had a very early interview ages ago, and he was
Before
talking
my
about-
time with the
before your
show.
time.
So who's this guy, Jim?
Yep, so this is Jim, and he attended the NWSM February show, the 2020.
Show looks awesome.
yeah,
What does that
every
stand
year-
for?
Northwest
Scale
Scale
Model?
Modelers. So every
Cool.
year at the Museum of Flight in Seattle, they hold it every year there. So very similar to Heritage Con, where they have it in a flight museum.
Looks amazing.
Yeah, so they had 2,172 modelers on the table, contributed by 72 modelers.
Nice.
It's the second largest count. The event's display only, with only one award presented as judged by the museum curators.
Oh, yeah.
So the winner this year was Russ Busy with his B-17F Gunner Vignette.
Vignette?
Vignette.
Vignette.
Sorry, yeah.
There you go.
So this is strictly a display one. This is why they have so many.
Isn't that
But
interesting?
they have some just absolutely
72 modelers cranked out 2,000
There's
plus
a lot of
models.
club entries and stuff like that. Yeah.
Holy crap, guys!
Yeah.
Nice work.
Yeah, I've always heard good
That's
things. So you've got some
awesome.
beautiful shots. There's the curator's choice right there.
Oh, that's pretty
Just a
fantastic. That's
gorgeous
different too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
gorgeous.
what did we say? What scale that was?
I don't think it listed it here. That one didn't list it. It's probably like 1/16 or something. Yeah.
So just to give you a visual picture of this is like a cutaway of a gunner's
Of the waist gunners.
station. So it's the figure itself and
the
kind
figure
of a portion
itself and a
of
little
the
bit
plane.
of the plane. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's more of a figure model
Yeah.
in a scene
Right.
rather than a
Right.
full plane kit.
And
or
then
that
we
kind
see
of thing.
someone here has an
Nice
HK link, 32nd.
nice.
Just a lot of gorgeous things, and
Yep.
yeah, I know we mentioned the show quite a bit. We talked, and at some point I've got to get the curator on of the Museum of Flight. We've kind of been kind of talking.
Okay.
It just hasn't happened yet. So
sounds pretty cool.
So yeah, so that's really good. So I threw a link to Jim's blog, and I'm sure you can find some more details there. But that's nice to see a show.
Congrats on another good show,
Yeah.
guys.
Okay, just a couple of interesting things. So I did find this Special Hobby. I get emails from them fairly regularly. They're pretty good. They have their latest version of their MD3 ground power unit. This is a resin kit. So this is like a ground cart. Previously, they had this in 1/48th and 1/72nd. Now they've got a 1/32nd scale one.
Is that modern era or
Yeah,
like
this
World
is
War II?
modern era. Well, like Vietnam and yeah.
Okay.
So basically,
Cold War era.
Cold War era, yeah. So this is so this is a needed energy for starting up entries of a wide range of aircraft like the T-33, B-47s. Basically you'd see these at air bases all over the place. So you get a nice little resin thing, some decals, some photo etch, full painting and assembly. So again, this will be popular because again they've done a 1/48th and 1/72nd, which was very very well received. So I just thought I'd point that out for you folks doing the dioramas.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Our good friends at the Modeling News. Revell has got some interesting stuff in March. So we're going to start with this is Revell, Germany.
Yep.
We're going to start off with the rescue ship, the SAR ship Berlin, and a Sea King called the Goodbye set. So these are like the German Coast Guard service. So they've been basically for decades. These cruisers and the Sea Kings of the German Navy have been part of the SAR service for all weather conditions. So basically, it's been just like in England. It's been exclusively financed just by donations. So it's all volunteer. It's an all volunteer force, private foundation, nonprofit. The British have a similar thing called the Royal National Lifeboat Institute.
Okay.
So this package contains two kits. So one's the actual rescue cutter.
This I gotta say, this looks like a Reeboks.
Yeah,
Reebok.
these are Reeboks together and then put in.
So maybe vintage kits.
Yeah, probably vintage kits. And then you've got a Sea King with a special edition decal for 45 years of SAR service from 2003.
That's
So
awesome.
they're basically, these are older stuff, but they're providing them together. Plus, you're getting some paint,
unusual.
brushes, glue, and you're getting a poster as well.
Okay.
So, okay. Now, the other one I'm really kind of excited about, because I remember when this first came out about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
This is their bucket wheel excavator. This is in 1/200th. These are the kind of things you do strip mining with.
Okay, this thing, I believe that 289 is the largest man-made vehicle of all time.
Probably something to that effect,
Yeah.
So this is a reissue. So basically, yeah, it's been hard to find. So they're basically
like out
reissuing
of print,
it. Out of print,
kind
yeah,
of
it
thing?
hasn't been available. 687 parts. So basically, it has 100 electric motors, 17,000 kilowatts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it can move at a speed of 600 meters per hour. So just
that's-
over half a kilometer
Yeah.
per hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. It's the largest like man-made vehicle of any
exactly.
sort.
Yeah, and it's
very
fascinating.
impressive,
Again,
eh?
it's one of these fascinating things. You ever see videos of these things?
It's crazy. Yeah, it is
Yeah,
wild.
it's a huge kit,
Yeah.
even at that scale. And the detail looks really good here. Plus, you get some,
Yeah.
you get everything.
This can't be that old a kit because I think that
No.
vehicle itself is only
No, I
not
remember if I
very
looked at
long.
scale mates, it wasn't that. I think it's within the last 20 years, 15, 20 years. You look it up at scale mates. I'll keep going. So 1/24th, a car, a Citroen 2 CV. So this was available in 1986 on the occasion of the French qualification for the Soccer World Cup.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah, it was a limited edition because it had the French flag, the
yeah.
teams, and all that. Could be built with an open or closed roof, 122 parts. So yeah, again a reissue, but again with this decal scheme. Then they've issued the Eurofighter Typhoon 148 scale, and this is in a special scheme to celebrate the 60th anniversary of the Tactical Air Force Wing 71. Celebrated its 60th anniversary last year. So they painted up a special Eurofighter out of Germany, actually. And they called it Baron Spirit because they quote the namesake of the traditional squadron, the Red Baron. Because that squadron,
Interesting.
if you follow it all the way back. And it's got a gorgeous scheme on the tail with a picture of him. See, there you go. Just an absolutely gorgeous scheme that was done. So, and this is a good... this is a good large kit, 148. This was awarded the best design at the Royal International Air Tattoo Show in Great Britain last year.
Oh yeah.
So very nice as well. So check that one out. They've also come out with the BA-1 Hawk T1. This is the primary advanced jet trainer for the RAF. 90 parts. And again, we use them here in Canada too.
I love the Hawk.
Yeah, Hawk's a neat little... I've got one.
Yeah.
I've got an Airfix one, I believe. I think it's 72nd in the stash to build.
Yeah,
So
that
they've
is a
produced
really-
over 1,000. Obviously, the Red Arrows, the British
Yes.
RAF team uses it. So this one is detailed cockpit, 2 rocket containers, 2 additional tanks, and decals for the RAF version. And again, a special edition one with some very nice tail art.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
I do. I gotta say, like I've never seen one. I have no
They
experience.
usually
with them.
bring them to the air show every year in
But
London.
it's just a beautiful.
It's a nice little
yeah.
aircraft. Yeah, it's
The
a
Red
very
Arrows is
cool-
an awesome scheme.
Yeah, I always thought, and in fact, I've seen people do this because you know how our Canadian team, the Snowbirds,
Yeah.
they use tutors, but they're getting older,
Yeah.
right? Well, the Canadian Air Force fly these,
As
right?
trainers,
and I've seen,
I
and I've seen
believe.
people make what if schemes with this and a Snowbird scheme,
Oh yeah.
which is really really cool.
Yeah.
So that's cool as well. Okay, moving on, a 172nd Ju-88 Battle of Britain version. A lot of these are reissues. But again, it looks pretty good for that scale. Might even be the old Matchbox kit.
Oh yeah. Oh, interesting. I'm just looking at the engine detail.
Yep.
It's not. It
Well,
doesn't look
okay.
like sort of today's.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
standard.
It's an older mode.
Yeah,
probably.
but I bet you it's an affordable kit.
It's an affordable kit, and some people may want it for that version because again, it's the early Battle
Yeah.
of Britain version. Moving on, they have an Albatross D3 in 148 scale. I know some people like the 148 fighters, a little bit smaller than the big stuff that Wingnet comes out with,
Yeah.
and a bit more affordable. So this was the most versatile in World War, and this should say, basically, looks like our friends at the Hobby News. They've mixed up a couple
Oopsie.
of bits of text
Yeah.
there, yeah. But the Albatross was a very versatile fighter in the First World War.
Yeah.
And they were very dangerous. They were deployed on the Western Front in early 1917. So this comes with the cockpit, control level, detailed engine, 2 machine guns, 2 different versions. And then moving on, a 140, we were just talking about the Mitchell with our contest winner.
Yes.
This one's the C&D in 148 scale. So again, and this was actually also, this one was built in Kansas City too.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, there you
wow.
go. Look at all
The
the links we
stars
have.
are
The
aligning.
stars are aligning with, again, a couple of different decals. So again, this is an older mode.
Yeah.
mold, but again, still popular. Then they have part of Revell's new Easy Click system. So this is similar to what Airfix is for the junior modeler, the brand new Volkswagen Beetle 124 scale. So the idea is this is like a, it's a snap tight kit.
Yeah.
So it's easy to paint, it's pre-painted,
Yep.
no gluing necessary, rotating sticker and decals included.
Well, it's got a nice.
Yeah,
nice
it's
finish.
actually a nice look for a, exactly. So something to get the younger modelers
That
into.
is the way, like that. It does, like Bondi's kind of, snap fit or snap tight. I think is the actual sort of brand
Snap
name.
Tight was Revell's or
Revell's-
Monogram's name, I remember.
Yeah,
Yeah, one of the two American companies, and we just
glueless.
generic.
Yeah, not needing glue or paint to
Yeah.
kind of get a finished product.
Exactly.
That is. I mean, it's not. I think. It's not as satisfying.
But it
for
gets,
kinda,
but it gets
but
the
it's
younger
entry
modelers,
level.
and exactly,
Yeah.
if it gets them interested.
Gets them into it, then you want to you stick with it enough, or it catches them their attention enough that they want to kind of progress to the next thing,
Exactly.
right?
So yeah, I thoroughly encourage that. Moving on to
absolutely.
Trumpeter. So their new product review. This is for late February. So they've got an M1142, heavy tactical fire truck.
Yeah.
Again, really cool looking. I love fire trucks like that.
Yeah.
They've also got it, the M1120 heavy high mobile tactical truck with the container loading and unloading assembly. So again, similar front end, but this one does the container. They've also got, and those are all in 135th, so that's going to be pretty big. They've also released announced the Soviet BTR 152 B1 armored personnel carrier, and this is post-war. This is Cold War.
Yeah. Is that Chinese or is it meant
No,
to
this
be
is Soviet. This is Soviet, and it's Cold War because you see they got their AK-47s.
Yeah.
So yeah. So again, something else for the Russian fans.
Yeah.
And again, we hope with the coronavirus and all that, it's really impacting production. So some of
Yeah.
these Chinese kits and that may be delayed. There's a lot in the pipeline, but again, people are, it's a concern if things continue. So just keep that in mind. Okay, Aoshima. Aoshima, am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, I think you got it.
All right, I found one here when I was looking them up. They've been one of the people. They're one of the companies that with along with Tamiya and Hasegawa, that did the 1/700th Waterline series of kits. They kind of agreed on a standard. So they're either reissuing or they're coming out with some brand new stuff too. So one of these is the super detailed HMS Jervis. So that was a British destroyer in the war. And so this is apparently a brand new mold, brand new
really?
tool. It's going to be released this year. Includes photo etch parts. So that'll
nice.
that'll be very, very nice to see. Again, for the people who like those sort of things, and they look like they're going to be doing a lot more.
There's people who like ships.
Oh, people love ships. Yeah, but I'm
One
saying
or
for the
two
ship
people,
models.
right?
Oh, 1 or 2 million.
We're just
no.
kidding.
I know. Yes.
We're
But
gonna
again,
we're gonna pay some attention, I think, in the next few months to some of the stuff that we have been a little remiss, like some ships and cars.
Yeah, if we don't know it, we don't.
We got to dig deeper. That's all.
dig deeper.
I'm
That's all we gotta do.
digging.
All right.
I got my shovel out.
Our good friends at Kitty Hawk. This one's been greeted with a lot of excitement. 148 scale, the KA-52 Alligator. This is a attack helicopter used by the Russians.
Oh yes.
Very nasty looking, actually, like in a good way. So this is going to be 148th, all new tool. We haven't got a lot of information about it yet, but this could be nice in that scale. Look at this thing on the box art.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be
Loaded.
on the
It's
wrong end
loaded
of
for bear.
business
Also, it's
end.
based off. It's the KA. So
Yeah.
the manufacturer Kamoff. You see here, it's unique because it has the counter rotating blades. It's got two sets of blades.
Yeah, that's right.
So a lot of people remember a lot of the Russian naval helicopters are built
Yes.
by Kamoff.
Yes.
And again, they got those counter rotating blades.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is the attack version of it. So that will be interesting to see. I think there's been previous molds of this, but as I said, this is an all new tooling. So
This is a 70s bird, I believe.
yeah, this is an older aircraft. But definitely still rather cool looking. So I noticed that, and again, people were talking about it on the various forums. Now, the other thing I found is I was looking through some stuff, some of the what's new on ScaleMates and that, and there's this manufacturer called Aeron Models. Now, all I can find a listing for so far is on ScaleMates. But they're releasing a bunch of stuff in 135th, and a lot of it's a lot of it's armor, modern armor, APC
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, but a lot of it's stuff that no one else really's done yet. So, for example, a Black Fox out of Korea, little APC unit, a Russian KA-AMZ Typhoon,
Mm-hmm.
a Canadian, a Textron TAPF, the Armor Patrol Vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I haven't seen these sort of things before. So I'm going to
Yeah.
try, and I can't find anything else about them right now. So I don't know if they're a subsidiary or something. I
Is
know
it
they're out in the
Arion?
a,
Arion?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Arion
ScaleMates
models.
has it. I can't find anything else on them right now, but that doesn't mean there isn't. So I think they're out of the Far East, just based on what I'm seeing on the box art and that.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens as we go. I think they're Chinese.
We have like the Canadian, Russian, South
They got
Korean,
a
German,
whole bunch,
Japanese subjects. And Soviet. This
and
is
they're all
quite
over the place.
interesting.
Yeah, they've got, and a lot of it's stuff that I haven't seen other manufacturers do.
Well, it looks like
It's all modern stuff.
well, yeah,
the most
a little bit
part.
of Cold War to
Yep.
modern. So it looks like they're trying to do that kind of more modern era.
But they seem to be doing stuff that's no one else is doing.
Yeah.
You know, so I noticed a lot of
Yeah.
Canadian armor guys that will like this Textron TAPV, the Armor Patrol Vehicle.
For sure. Oh, the tap fee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it'll be interesting to see. You know, again, as I find more, I couldn't find at this point. I couldn't find a Facebook presence,
They must be just brand new.
brand new,
Scale
and they must have
started.
submitted it themselves to ScaleMates. So again, if anyone knows anything more about these
Yeah,
guys,
drop
please
us.
drop us a line, either email or Facebook. So, okay, and then the other thing was something called P Bandai.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's coming to. So this is premium Bandai. Why don't you explain this? I was trying to understand this.
Yeah, so this P Bondi thing has it's been around for a little while, and basically it was limited release kits in the home market. So they were coming out in Japan, and you'd get variations or kind of limited run, maybe a little bit more obscure stuff. But it's been very popular because you're seeing like kits that people want.
But only in the Japanese market.
Yeah, so people were going to like these kind of resellers or like the auction sites to try and get and they'd be very expensive. So they'd be like $100 when the home price was 30,
Yeah,
for
right,
example.
Right.
So apparently they are Bondi Hobby and Tamashi items, and I think Tamashi is more like the sort of collectible figures and
Right.
stuff like that. They're coming to the USA Gundam shop, which is like the official
store.
Bondi store, if I have that correctly.
Yeah, that's the way I think. I
Yeah, so I think that's kind of interesting. So now the pricing is going to be a bit more in line with the home market, so it won't be so crazy. Like I've seen some of the kits where the main release, like the regular Bondi release, it's a kit that's, let's say, 30 to 35 Canadian dollars, and I've seen them in shops and they're 90 or 100, and you're like, wow, it's just a 1-to-144 kit. So I think this is quite interesting, and I hope that Canada will. It says
North
that these
America.
products will be available directly to North American consumers via the Premium Bondi USA site,
April 2nd.
and that's their official online store. Yeah, so that's cool. I've definitely seen a few Gundam subjects come by that I thought, oh, that'd be great, and then I thought, well, I'm certainly,
Well, and I think
Can't
it's
afford it.
interesting how, because we've talked about how big Gundam is, Bandai products
It's
are
certainly
based
growing.
on,
Yeah.
the sales in Japan and the Far East versus North America. So
Yeah.
obviously the sales are increasing enough that they feel they can do this now.
Yeah.
There's obviously enough demand.
I'll give the listeners some examples of the stuff that's coming out. So this is all things that are slated for April 2020. There's a real grade 1-to-144 Tall Geese, the TV animation color, and that the Tall Geese is an amazing. It's a great design. It's a cool mobile suit.
Okay.
There's been a couple different versions because it's from a series in the mid '90s called Gundam Wing, and there was some like a movie counterpart.
Okay.
So you get these different versions, like the 1, 2, and 3 and whatnot. But these have kits, but then there's substantial differences for a variant, right? So that's going to come out, and they have a price here. I'm assuming in US dollars, $30. So that's what you'd pay for a real grade kit.
And these are kits, right? These are
model
just
kits.
collectibles.
Yeah.
Okay.
The master grade, which is the 1-to-100 scale stuff. The Death Scythe. rosette unit. So these would have been like specific Ace Pilot colors.
Right.
Something different about it anyway.
The Slash Saku Phantom looks pretty cool with those rotary cannon. And he's got, what was that, some sort of really nasty looking heavy duty axe.
Yeah, some kind of beam weapon. And I think there was some of the stuff they've redone. Like there might have been an older kit,
right?
And now they're getting like another iteration that's sort of more of the cutting edge time.
Ooh,
Varguil. Oh yeah, the Victory 2 Assault.
Victory 2 Assault Buster Gundam.
Yeah,
that's
version Ka. That's awesome.
That's like a pretty awesome looking long gun there, and he's got a long gun on his shoulder.
Yeah, that's a neat design from Victory. And
some of these.
Yeah, there's a 1/4 high grade Gundam. The number 4 unit G04, $27. So yeah, you could maybe find these and they'd be 100 because
it looks like there's some expansion units. They're gonna have weapons, full armor expansion units for Unicorn Gundam.
There's some Slash
cool
Saku.
things,
That kit, the master grade. So there's going to be this other 1/100 scale Slash Saku Phantom. I think that's from Build Fighters. I believe there was a kit or Seed. I'm sorry, I don't know all the details, but
that's all right.
There was maybe a kit prior to them coming out with the high grade series, so it might have been pretty limited and maybe some poor articulated and maybe not so great proportions and whatnot.
So pretty cool. So
there's a lot of stuff coming out. Yeah.
So obviously, as I was saying, Gundam Bandai feels there's demand for it over here. It's worth setting up the infrastructure. That's good. I think that's a very good thing. We're getting more. The prices people are being more aware of it.
Yeah, the prices are going to be more in line.
And they think they'll be able to sell more because they'll be more in line.
And there's a lot of neat stuff like the REG Custom, $65 for a master grade, so it's a larger kit.
Well, you know what? I just like seeing like some of these with the weapon, like this GNX3. Is that like a lance? I'm thinking of an old knight.
Yeah, it would be some kind of like battering
spear or something. Yeah,
I almost
expect him to have the horse.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of like close combat that takes place in a lot of those series, and they have those.
There's a GM sniper.
Yep, the sniper. So A. Jung's GM sniper.
So this is a unique person's.
Yeah, this is characters. Like a pilot's particular mobile suit, and basically I think like that kit, for example, you can buy a mass release master grade Sniper 1.
Well, didn't you have one? Weren't you have one you were working on? Which sniper? You were working on something.
I was working on Sniper 2.
Sniper 2, right? Okay.
Now this kit, there was an original kit from like 1980.
Right.
There was a master grade kit. You can buy that, but what they've done is they've gone ahead and produce the kits in the correct colors for the kind of market of people who snap build it together. They use the stickers and maybe some panel lining. So they're getting a complete model right off the hop without having to do the paints. Because you could just buy the kit, paint it whatever scheme you like.
You want to paint it from what you see on the TV or whatever.
But even you could track down the info on the correct variations from the in-universe and then do them up. But they just make them that way, so they're kind of ready to go.
Well, any selection, if it makes it easier, as I said, they obviously feel, we know, and what I've learned over the last couple of years, the fans here are just,
And this perfect grade kit, so the last entry on the list there is a 1/60th RXO Unicorn Gundam, the final battle version. So the price here, $275 US. So this is a huge kit.
That's a huge kit, yeah.
And then they have an expansion
the full armor
unit.
Expansion unit down below, which is another 77. Weapon and fuel tank.
Yeah.
Yeah. That looks pretty cool.
That might have been something that would run up towards $400 or $500.
Just in the picture here, looks like something on a stand there. Is that it converted, or is that like a shield or something? Like that there.
That's interesting. Some kind of it looks like the shield.
A shield of some sort he'd use,
some weapons.
Which is probably why the cost it's big too, but it looks like because you're basically getting the robot, the mech suit as well, but as well as that monster thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of parts to these kits. They're huge projects, right? Like they're going to be large.
We've talked about the 160s before.
Yeah, they're quite. I'm going to guess they're like 18 inches.
Yeah, that's going to be a nice looking kit.
Yeah, they're huge. Well, but those would be really expensive kits to try and track down if that was the thing, the subject you wanted to build.
So obviously they feel there's a big enough market now in North America.
And then they have a bunch of these effect sets. Yeah. So it's like they have the real grade 1/144 Destiny Gundam effect unit. So it's like the they call it Lightning Wing. It's $20.
Yes.
So this is just the clear translucent parts that fit like on. I don't know what they're trying to represent here, but
there was obviously something from one of the shows.
yeah,
or
it's like it's probably like some kind of beam filled
beam effect or something.
Yeah, they usually have some type of like science-y type of explanation for what it is. And then the
there's a
Wings of
couple
Light
here.
for Victory too.
Yeah.
Victory, I haven't seen all of it, but the
Okay.
designs have been around for. I'd love to see it because it's part of the Universal Century Time
Right.
like story.
Right.
But they've got the effect unit for the Wings of Light for the Victory 2 in the version COD, and it's $24. So like that's within reason. And if we have to pay $30 in Canada, let's say, or Australia, like that's
not bad.
You know,
at all.
you could.
That's not bad at all.
You can do it.
Exactly.
So-
So very, very exciting news there.
Yeah, there's also there's more Bondi news too. There's some Advance of Zeta kits coming out,
Okay.
which is a really cool series that was sort of like I believe it was just from Model Graphics did like a photo sort of series where they had model like a story plus new model kit designs, mobile suit designs, and it's like a side story that fits in. And they're really cool, and some of them were put out in kind of the mass release, and there's more coming. And like, I'd love to get an Advanced Zeta kit. So,
And then there's some other interesting ones. Like I was looking at this, the space battleship Yamato, high dimension clear. It's like a clear version of the.
So they often do this
Okay.
with the various series. What they'll do, and I'm sure people will remember this, they'll put out a coated version, like so you get an all chrome version or you get an
Right.
all clear version, and they're kind of like these limited edition. I think it's just a way to kind of maximize the molds.
Yeah.
So and then
It's
they
certainly-
put maybe some detail on the inside.
Yeah, like this one looks like a clear yellow plastic they're doing.
And maybe you can see like the guts inside the engine or whatnot.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's just like there's Valkyrie kits from Hasegawa that were like pure. They were just clear, and it was like a tinted red clear or a tinted blue clear.
So that's So this one's a yellow.
Yeah.
And it's based on the space battleship Yamato 2202 Love Warriors Yamato of the final battles specification 1/1000 scale. Yeah, clear yellow to reproduce a luminescent state.
Oh, interesting. So maybe something about
It's a selection form of the normal version. Yeah.
Yeah, something in the.
So exclusive display base. So as you say, plus it comes with a couple of fighters.
Yeah.
A couple of the Cosmo Tiger and the Tiger 2s. So yeah, very cool. So yeah, they always have some cool stuff.
There was a little bit of excitement about for March for Bondi. They're coming out with a high grade 1 to 1/4 Gundam Marcosius.
Okay,
Which
what's that?
I believe that is from Hathaway's Flash.
Okay.
Let's see if this loads up here, but that's pretty cool. I think this might be.
Or mobile. Okay, it mentions up here mobile suit.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right.
Orphans? Was
It's
that a
Iron
series?
Blooded Orphans, which is a current
Current series.
Yeah, or at least from the past couple of years.
You're right. Yeah, it says okay.
And I think people are the fans
That's
are
pretty cool.
quite excited about
And it
this
transforms, from what I see here,
okay,
a little bit.
one. Dagger arms. So interesting. Yeah.
So again, there'll be some few accessories.
Yeah. So I
So,
know there's
again,
been a
exciting
lot
times.
of talk about that, and here's the
Maybe we should get Ian from On the Bench to build one of those.
oh no, Ian, you want to build the wound wart here that they have. Okay, so for the Advance of Zeta stuff, it's really cool. They have another TR1 Heisenslay,
Okay.
and so it was like that. Advance of Zeta had a whole bunch of like Titans test team. For any Gundam fan, the Titans were like the bad guys from Zeta Gundam, which arguably the best series in Gundam.
Okay.
And these are really neat. So this is like follows the exploits of some pilots testing new and various Gundam mobile suits. And I actually haven't read the story. I got to track it down somewhere or translate it. But so there's a new TR1. There's the TR6, which is the they call it the Kihar 2, but I think it's some sort of wound wart. So which was an earlier model, and this is the equipment variation machine. And then there's another a high grade Universal Century 1 to 1/4 Gundam TR6 wound wart. I'd like one of those, and I may have to save up
You
my
may
pesos.
have to save up your pesos.
There was
for
a
that.
kit, but it was so expensive. I thought,
Was
well,
it?
I just will stop liking it.
Now, here's an interesting, because we were just mentioning our good friend Ian from On the Bench, and
Yes.
his favorite wash term is photo etch is your friend.
Yeah.
Is there Gundams that are made or battle
photo
suits that use a lot of photo etch? Or I don't
All
seem
of
to
my
see-
kits have photo etch on them.
So you can get There's a lot of photo etch
It
accessories.
tends to be. I've never seen any Bondi official
Right.
photo etch sets.
Maybe that's what
but
I'm thinking. Yeah.
there are definitely third party manufacturers who make kind of like generic sci-fi. I've got my fingers up, my air quotes, sci-fi sets, and they are awesome. And they really do kind of add a really cool level, and they're complicated, so they're kind of a challenge for the model.
Well, and you know what? I'm just thinking it's not just photo etch like that, because of course our guest in our interview coming up does stuff with resin, so we're going to talk about that too.
Bondi's been really good in the past few years. They've come out with a lot of like accessory sets where you can get, or detail sets, so you can get sort of things like replacement vernier thrusters, replacement weapons, replacement mechanical detail, and hand like manipulators, right? That's the thing with like the Gunpla kits,
Right.
is that for years they were just have these terrible lumps of plastic that you put where the manipulator or hand would go.
Okay.
And I think they're getting better, but like I never use them. They don't look anywhere
Right.
nearly. They don't look at all plausible or believable. And for a long time there was resin replacement hands.
Okay.
And those are sweet. And I have a limited supply of those beauties, and I treasure them. And one day I'll run out.
I noticed that was kept in the secure vault.
That's
vault
right.
down on level 3A with the
got a selection of
28
those.
guards. Yeah.
I found some in Japan when I was there.
And the ninjas guarding it. That's
Yes.
what your ninjas, the Goodman model ninjas.
But Bondi actually came out, I think, a couple years ago with a new little line called Builders Materials or Builder Sets, and they had new manipulator replacements, and they're not bad. They're okay, so I've got some of those to play around with. But oh my goodness, yeah, this it might as well be like square lumps, eh?
Right. Well, again, it's what we talk about. You go with what the market is, which they probably were first doing. The basic kits, and then they decide. Yeah.
Figures, like
They
good
do figures 1 to 100th figures, so
Yeah.
that's good for like a diorama.
Yeah, because they're hard to come by otherwise,
Okay,
right?
interesting,
Figures.
interesting.
And even, but like Hasegawa, for example, since we're talking a little bit about sci-fi, with their Valkyrie kits, they came out right away with a photo etch set.
Right.
In both scales, 72nd scale and in 1 to 48 scale when they came out with those kits. And they're really nice.
Yeah.
And again, you don't have to have them.
But if you feel like you want to decorate it up and
they
make
dress
it a
it
little
up.
bit nicer, yep.
They give you way more detail, and they're not easy to do. Right, they require that patience, as anyone experienced with photo etch knows. But it's a challenge for the model kit builder, right?
And if it's something they want to do, and
they look great. I love them. I bought one for each
That's awesome.
Valkyrie I have.
That's awesome. Actually, I think our good friends
400.
at Return to Kit Form, they're going to be shipping me a 1/72nd mass set.
Yeah, excellent.
For my Valkyrie, and we're going to do a full-on review of that. That should be
I'm gonna
that
have to
should
do
be
one
fun.
too.
I always say masks are your friend. Ian can say
aren't they?
photo etch is your friend, but
I've never tried a mask yet.
Masks are awesome.
I can't
So,
wait.
you remember, I built a lot of World War II stuff that have greenhouses for canopies, and
Birdcage.
they're awesome.
I can't wait.
Okay, moving on. Scalemates, they're hot kits. So it's not a lot of changes here. The SR71 and 148 scale from Revell. It's gonna be a big plane. That is number 1 on the list. The KV1 from Tamiya is there. The K52 Alligator we talked about. AMK's F14 Super Tomcat. Tamiya's P38. Trumpeters. Oh yeah, this one here we neglected. This is an ICBM launcher. The 15
I thought it was a locomotive for a
175. No,
minute.
it's not a locomotive, sadly. No, this is a IC. I don't know if, I think this might be a launcher too, a mobile launcher.
Yes.
Yeah.
Looks like it.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
a whole lot of death in that.
Nice.
So yeah, then we've got the Edouard 148 scale Tornado in that unique desert pink color. The Ryefield model Sherman with full interior. I know some of the armor guys are very excited about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, not a lot of movement, but the odd new thing. Again, we're in the golden age. Absolute ton of things.
Yeah.
Happening. I'm just seeing what else is listed here. Anything that catches your eye?
Well, I've got the old, I guess it's the M8, the light armored car. The old Greyhound kit's getting some upgraded parts in 2020. So from Tamiya 1 through 5th scale, I think that's like a common U.S. armored car from. I think you're getting figures and some stowage with it. Looks like maybe that's what the change is.
Cool.
That's fun.
Yeah, some people like. There seems to be quite a big. It's just like there's quite a big community about people who build like assault guns or artillery pieces. There
Yeah.
seems to be a lot of people that like building the smaller scout cars and
Yeah, I like that stuff.
and stuff like that. Exactly.
I love the IFVs. I'm not such a as one of my modeling pals at the club said I'm a main bow tank kind of guy. I was like, oh, all right, I see.
I know Dave from the scale or from Plastic Model Mojo.
Yeah.
He's been working on this Airfix MiG 17 that's on here, and he's been very happy with that.
Oh yes.
So that's apparently quite a nice one too. So
Nice.
all sorts, yeah. And we'll mention links to all our co-podcasters around the world at the end of the show.
The community.
The community, yeah. I know. I know there's some good stuff there. I know the lads there. I know Mike and Dave. They arranged a bottle of some good sipping bourbon to go to the lads down in Australia, because the lads in Australia were kind of not giving them a hard time. They were winding them up. So that was a nice thing when Dave got back from his trip
Yeah.
to see us in San Francisco and Paris and all that. So that was really, really cool. Okay, so that's about what's hot, and that is all our news that's fit to print or line the bottom of the birdcage or whatever, whatever you want. Okay, what's the scoop? So what's the scoop this week? This is really, I'm really pleased
you
about
were
this.
out in the.
I was out and about.
Hitting the pavement.
I was hitting the pavement. Well, as many of you know, I love the old Aqueous paints.
Yes.
And we just can't seem to get them here
Color.
in North America.
I have a whole row of them.
Yeah, I know, but you can't get them lately. The water-based. I've got stuff going back 20 years.
That's mine are all vintage.
It's just as good as Tamiya. I loved it.
Yeah.
It's just as good. Much more colors.
Yep, they have really good specific World War II,
yeah,
whatever,
very specific, and it was a
German.
very nice thin with distilled water if you wanted. I found it worked great with the model leveling. Like it was like Tamiya. It was a very simple, but water-based, so not super stinky. Well, yeah, for the last 10 years or 15 years, we just can't seem to get it.
Yeah, it has not been very present.
I think it was
in our
because
world.
of the way the hazardous shipping or something. There's all sorts of rumors.
Well, I think just Mr. Collar was sort of not, like a front runner in the paint
the Aqueous
market.
wasn't. Yeah. Or
But even
Mr.
Mr.
Hobby in
Collar
general.
is sort of a
Mr.
new.
Hobby in general,
our world, like our little sphere in Canada, Southwest Ontario, it's been Tamiya and. For years, Model Master, right? That's what you went to a store.
Yep,
that's what you could get.
Yep. Well, originally it was Testers in their Model Master.
Yeah.
And then Tamiya. Now we've got Vallejo. We've got a few more brands. So.
Yeah, there's a lot more entries into the market.
Yep.
And we were I was super excited about Neo Tokyo starting to carry Mr. Color, the lacquer
base, which is great, And Tamiya's doing their lacquer line. But what's great is, like I said, Neo Tokyo, which is a local anime store, but they also do a lot of model kits, and I enjoy going in. They gave me a ring, and because we've been talking about this, because we were hearing rumors that Mr. Hobby's coming out with a new formula Aqueous paint. Well, their distributor now has some. So they're going to be getting some in. So that means other North American distributors should have them or will be getting them soon. So our local store, he's going to be getting in the first 90 that's available in the range. They're still waiting to hear about the thinner. The local distributor doesn't have the thinner. But again, you can apparently thin this with water.
I'm frowning to that.
I know, so am I. But again, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually holding a couple of colors. One of the colors I want to get is the off-white.
Yes.
Because I hear a lot of people like that for instead of a pure white. So perhaps for my Valkyrie. But I think what I'm going to do is when it comes in, I'm going to do it and I'm going to do a test. I'll do some tests with water through the airbrush. I'll do tests with Tamiya thinner, the Mr. Color, like the leveling thinner. Because again, a lot of people will use
leveling thinner.
Yeah, but a lot of people will use Tamiya.
Yeah.
Which the leveling thinner is designed as an enamel-based thinner, right?
Lacquer-based?
Lacquer-based thinner. Yep. But you can use the acrylic paints through it.
That's what I do.
Paints.
Yeah.
To me and the Aqueous in the past I did. So again, I'll give it a whirl and we'll see what. You
gotta try it out for yourself.
And we'll see what happens.
That's the bottom line, right?
Exactly.
Don't take anyone's word. Do some experiments.
Do some experiments. I'm looking forward to seeing that. So that'll be good. And I do recommend Neo Tokyo if you're in the area.
Yeah.
He has. It's not just models. Just one thing he does. He does like anime. He does all sorts of things.
That's his
manga,
thing. And
a lot of the Japanese. You can get like Japanese snacks and stuff like that.
kind
there.
of cultural
Cultural
store.
DVDs.
Yeah.
But he has quite a few Gundam kits. A lot of the Bandai. I picked up my Bandai stuff there.
Yep, you got
some of my
your
Star Wars
kits.
stuff. Yep,
Yeah.
I've picked that up. And,
It's been awesome. It's been a real that's the only place in London, which is a medium-sized city.
Mm-hmm.
So we're actually quite lucky. We have about 6 or 7 fully functional hobby stores, hobby shops. But that's the only one that has Mr. Color. So that's where I go.
I know, exactly.
I'm trying to buy the whole catalog.
There you go. Yeah, he's got his collection slowly growing on his wall o' paint.
Absolutely.
So the other thing is, this is actually from our guest. We're going to be playing his interview in a minute.
I just got this teaser today.
Yeah, so we'll just mention it, but then people will realize what we're talking about when we listen to the interview.
Yeah. So we are having an interview with Sean Thomas from Sean's Custom Model Tools, and he's another fellow Ontarian.
Yes,
and a great guy. We've had got to know Sean a little bit over the past couple months, and what an awesome guy! And he's just doing a lot of interesting things. Mm-hmm. He's making all these tools and accessories. So I was chatting with him today about something, and he sent me a little picture, and we were kind of talking about. He has released recently, but it's definitely available for sale, a glue holder for the Tamiya glass jars. So
square job.
Yeah,
jars,
the square jars.
Thin, yeah.
So you're extra thin. The very popular, at least in these parts, right? And so he's decided to, and I think we were jibber jabbering with him.
Well, we had him here because the other thing, and again, we'll talk about it during the interview.
Yeah.
We've got a video. He's also working. He also worked with you, and we came up with the super standing block stands. So he was down here, and we were talking about it.
Yeah.
And then we were looking at some of the products, and I'm actually going to be doing a review of his other various tools. But one of the things we realized is that the Mr. Color bottles, some of them are fractionally slightly bigger.
They're a touch bigger than Tamiya.
Yeah, so what he's come up with, he's come up with this great idea. And we were talking about it here.
Yes, that's
where
right.
He's got the glue holder Mark II, and it's going to fit both.
Yeah.
Basically. So,
and he's just working on it, so we have like a CAD image of it that we can show you.
Yeah, he's been working away at it, so we have the CAD image.
Yeah.
And again, we'll go into more detail in the interview.
Yeah.
We just thought we'd have to share that. But
It's neat.
there will be a full... I'm going to have some pictures of that. We'll talk about it in a minute with the interview.
Yeah.
But we're really pleased about that. So that's going to be cool. Okay, speaking of super standing blocks, how about that?
Yeah.
For a segue? You like how I did that?
Well done. Very
Wasn't
smooth.
Wasn't that pretty cool? I'm pretty good at that sometimes.
Goes down smooth.
On some days I do.
Yeah.
Goodman models.
Yeah.
Super
So
standing blocks.
things are rolling along.
Yeah.
The super stands have been a real hit.
Yes.
Have lots of orders for those. Again, that's Sean from Sean's Custom Model Tools. Is the guy who designed it for me, with some input from Stu and input from me. And they're for sale. I got them on the site, so you can get them. It's actually really interesting. It all sort of came about quite organically, but you can buy them from my site, and if you want the Goodman Green, it's exclusive at GoodmanModels.com.
The hot Goodman Green.
Yeah, and then he's also doing a base color, which you can get directly from him. And I know a few shops are going to be carrying that. Wargaming Miniatures in Australia has just gotten an order.
I saw that. They posted that.
They have blue, and they have like a slate gray
and like
a black.
Yeah.
And so they have them. So at goodmanmodels.com, if you want just to buy a separate one because you already have a set, you can buy one. They're, how much do they cost? I forget. $7.99 US.
Yeah, something like that.
And if you want to get a set of super standing blocks plus the super stand, I have a combo pack where you get a small discount. And that's also on there as well. They're in stock, and we're gonna have them at. They're gonna be at the next local shows.
So
upcoming.
and one of the shows you're doing, both you and Sean are. Your products will be at Heritage Con. So Sean's gonna have his booth.
Coming up.
You're vending with FlexiFile.
Yeah,
so
I'm doing a demo for to support FlexiFile.
Yep.
And so Sean's gonna have stands there, I think, for sale.
So you can go and you can go to FlexiFile, pick up your sanding blocks.
Yep.
And then walk across to wherever Sean's booth is.
And check out his sweet tools.
Pick up your stands and your tools. Yeah. So it's gonna be really, really cool.
Yeah, the stands are awesome. I gotta say, I'm really just enjoying. I've been using the stands a lot or the super standing blocks on the Quincy Row kit from Moscato Hobby Models.
You've been posting that. I was gonna say, you've been posting some stuff like that.
Yeah.
And there's been some very good comments
Yeah.
Like John Moscato has a set, and he wrote some very nice things.
Yes, he
You're
had
getting
a
some
sent
excellent
something to review.
feedback.
Yeah, and you know I usually do. I haven't had any in 5 years. I haven't had anybody who actually tried them out or bought them like come back and say like you're bonkers.
I know.
But
so
I love
it's a
having
great,
the stand. I gotta say I love having the stand. I've been like
Doesn't it keep like I
Oh,
said, it keeps it
yeah.
nicely organized.
It's funny because Stu really was talking about that. Like you should do
Yeah.
this, and I thought, oh, why would I?
Yeah. Yeah. See, you
But
should listen to me more often.
It's great.
Yeah,
I've learned my lesson.
That's all right. So where can one find these? What's your website again?
Goodmanmodels.com. Fully stocked right now. Go check it out.
Fully stocked. All the singles are there.
Yeah.
I see.
All the singles. There's still some factory seconds for the budget.
Factory seconds for
conscious
people who want to
wallet.
try, but
Yeah.
some absolutely awesome. It is an awesome product. Like I'm not just saying that because I know Anthony and I work with it. Anthony, years before we did the podcast, he gave me a couple to try, and he wanted a honest opinion, and it's one of those things you go, how come I didn't think about that? For larger parts,
I use them on every kit, every build.
everything I do, and that's why I like having the stand right there, like for the Valkyrie again, especially things like sprue gates when you have a solid, flat thing, you want like that nice flat surface.
I certainly use them on like if a styrene like plastic injected kit, I use them a lot for the seams.
Yeah,
but on this resin kit, there's not so many seams because the parts are more solid, but there's a lot of like kind of like mold marks, and then the actual pour stubs, and those are a pain in the butt, the pour stubs. So that's why I have the 80 grit block. It doesn't come over very often, but certainly on these resin, I've been really rocking that block.
This is why, exactly, because for resin kits, as you've put before, again, in our review video, we talk about it. We've done the resin series, stuff like that.
Yeah, and we'll do more of that.
Yeah, definitely. You need stuff you're going to be able to do it with. And you showed a very good photo recently of your Quincy row and showing how that's working.
Yeah, on John's kit, and we talk about a little bit of this in the kit review video, but he's giving you a couple options. So on the Quaidloon Rao, it has these like rocket pods bulges, and so he's giving you like a closed cover and an open cover, so you can see all the rocket like lined up inside. And so I was just, but I think they were a flat pour, so that means they have quite a thick bit of extra resin material kind of like behind the part.
Yeah.
And you need to trim it so it fits nicely inside the bulge. And I just laid my block flat on the table, held it, and then rubbed sanded the piece back and forth across until I got it just the way I wanted it.
Well,
and now
this
they pop
before
in.
and after picture you have here is just on your Facebook page.
And I'm gonna put magnets in there so I can swap the closed cover with the open missile pod.
Well, you talked about LED. You're really excited about this kit. We're really, I can really see that, and I know you're really looking forward to it. So this is one that you've wanted to see for a while.
It's pretty cool. I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun after slogging through a couple harder builds.
Right. Now, one thing we should mention, because you mentioned the 80 grit.
Yeah.
The earlier versions of the Super Sanding Block, I noticed the color was different now. So one, the original 80 grit with the light green.
Yep.
The 80 grit wasn't a wet dry. Correct?
That's correct. So
but the new one is.
It's the way it worked out that I think there even was a blue iteration for a while, but I could not get the lower grit in a wet dry.
But now you can.
But now I have.
So it's amazing.
Sorry, I did get a comment from somebody who said, "Oh, I wish the 80 grit was wet."
Yeah.
But to be honest, I don't. I don't really.
You don't really need it,
wet.
but I just think it's good to be transparent about that, and because people do ask, and the odd time, and
I've had one person because it was always indicated in your instruction sheet, but
but that's been updated, but again,
So if you have the green one, it is dry only, and then but all the newer.
I tend to use the only ones I really do a lot of wet dry is the top two finest grits.
Interesting. I use it for all of them.
Now I do also when I'm cleaning them now because you got the video how to clean them.
Yeah,
and all
a little
that.
bit of it can help for sure.
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome.
But going forward, if you have a set that has a black 80 grit block, you're good to go on wet or dry sanding.
Well, and the other thing too is if you need an 80 and a wet and dry, you can get it as a single.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
So another reason for the singles are around,
You can if you really
if
that's
you really
something
want an
you
80
kind of feel you need
you
to
can,
be doing for sure.
You can order a single and there you go.
Yeah.
So definitely check those out. You're on Facebook, as we said, goodmanmodels.com.
Yeah.
So check those out, and we thank you for your support.
You're welcome.
Don't forget to pat yourself on the back. There you go.
Every
Pat,
day.
pat, pat. There he goes. Good boy. Okay, let's get on to our topic. So, yeah, we've been talking about it already.
Yeah.
Sean Thomas, Sean's custom model tools. This is all 3D printed stuff.
It's
I
so
love
cool.
this. People
Yeah.
know when there's a show, Anthony heads for the kits, I head for the tools.
No, I don't like
I
that.
know, but
I'm
most
a tool
people,
guy.
you and I head to the tools.
I'm a tool guy.
But yeah, it's funny in our group. Usually half of them go one way, half of them go
yeah.
the other.
No, the tools. That's where it's
Yeah,
at.
that's
These
where
are
it's
so
at.
neat. I'm just, I love the idea that you've got. He's made his own model tools.
Yeah.
And then it's such a interesting concept.
Well,
right?
exactly. So we had him down here. We had him down at Goodman Heavy Industries, I think
came
last
down.
weekend or 2 weekends ago.
Yes.
And because he was bringing down some sanding blocks for you, and he brought down some of his other
The
samples.
super stands. Yeah. He
Super
did bring us some
stands
goodies.
and all that. So we are, as I said, in future we're gonna have a video review,
Yes.
and there might possibly be some prize packs further, maybe a month or two away. We'll
Yeah.
see what happens.
There's
But
definitely
anyway,
some goodies in the
we had a
works.
really good interview with him. He's a really good guy.
It was a lot of fun.
So here's the interview right now with Sean. Welcome back to the Scale Model Podcast and our interview segment today, and we've got another exciting guest. Anthony, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, live in the studio with us tonight.
Live at Goodman, you've allowed someone else in the deep, dark recesses of Goodman Heavy Industries. I heard you had to blindfold him when he came in.
There's a hood.
It's a hood? Okay.
There's a little scratchy.
A little
Like
scratchy.
a
Sorry
burlap
about
bag.
that. Yeah, he gets a bit paranoid.
Yeah, we're very happy to have with us Sean Thomas
Mm-hmm.
from Sean's Custom Model Tools with us, actually live, which is always the most fun.
Which is
right?
the most fun.
Yeah.
And we do have to add Anthony. Anthony was doing a lot of show and tell.
we did have
Well,
fun.
actually, both of you did a lot of show and tell.
Yeah.
True.
Because Sean has some amazing
Yes.
new products he was showing us, and when we do this interview, we're gonna have picture galleries and all sorts of
Oh
good
yeah.
things.
I think Sean and I are birds of the feather.
You guys are. I was just sitting back and watching them both play.
Yeah, it was a
Yes.
good time. So we're very happy to welcome Sean to the show. Sean is a longtime model builder, a Renaissance man, if you will, interested in 3/5 scale armor, anything that flies, sci-fi, including Gundam, Robotech, Star Trek, Star Wars, and he has recently jumped into 3D printing and is making a splash with his tools, accessories, and aftermarket kit parts. So Sean's products can be found at Sean's Custom Model Tools page on Facebook. And he's here to tell us all about the cutting edge world of 3D printing. So welcome to the show, Sean.
Thank you for having me.
How are you doing today?
It's a good day. He's got his coffee. We're recording this on a Sunday morning.
Mm-hmm.
He made the drive down. Took about what, an hour?
About an hour.
About an hour. That's good.
Yeah, we're local
Fair.
boys here.
We're all local boys here in Ontario. So, okay, we're just going to start then. So, we're going to start. How did you get into scale modeling, and how did you discover anime models?
I've been modeling probably since I was about 8 years old. My dad brought home my first truck model kit, and ever since then it's just been one snowball ride.
Yeah, a familiar story indeed, for sure.
Now, did you do what some people do? There was a gap in your teenage years or later teenage years, or you've pretty well done it all the way through?
Not much of a gap, no.
That's awesome.
You're
Okay.
able to keep up.
Yeah.
Nice.
If-
That's awesome.
Slowed down, but not much of a gap in
Okay.
between. So,
And when did you get into anime right from the start, or?
probably discovered anime kits late 80s. Actually, I'm looking at one of the signs on your wall here from Niagara Central Hobbies, and that's where I bought my first anime kit.
That's awesome.
Oh, me too.
And that, so
True birds
I-
of a feather, the pair. Yeah.
I used to live down the road from them, so it wasn't too hard to get down
Oh
there.
yeah,
so
that was my haunt as well.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, sad to see that shop go. That was
Yeah,
a big.
that was a nice
That was
store.
a huge.
Yeah, I remember
huge-
hearing about them. Yeah.
Yeah, because they had a huge. It was like a double shop.
Yeah.
They had two of those. You imagine like a typical downtown
Standard unit. They had two of them.
Yeah, because they're long and
Yeah, long
thin.
and narrow. Yeah.
So they had one kind of almost all. It was like rail. It was like
The
a
railroad side,
shop,
and then they
yeah.
had the model kit side.
And then,
Yeah.
then they had the model kits in there, and they also had like art
yeah,
supplies.
the second half of the store was all art supplies
Yeah.
and crafts and
That's actually more common than people realize. You've got I've seen a lot of places where art supply store. I was reading a Facebook feed the other night, and someone has an auto body shop with a model kit shop on the side. Like there's a lot of
That's interesting.
Yeah, there's actually it's actually more common than people realize.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny to
Yeah.
think, but it's always good to support
Do
the
you-
local stores.
Did you call that place the Hobby Shop?
Yes.
Yeah, it was known. Interesting. It was called Niagara Central Hobbies, but it was always referred to as the Hobby Shop.
Well, because if it's good, it's unique, and
If I remember correctly, it was the only one in town. So
Yeah.
it's
there's-
the hobby shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not just the Hobby Shop. Like they actually branded themselves as the Hobby
that's cool.
Shop,
Yep.
and then
Why
you look
not?
at the sign, it would say Niagara Central Hobbies. I'm like, huh.
But what are you going to remember? Oh yeah, got to go to the
Yeah.
hobby shop. You
Yeah.
know that.
See,
so-
my dad used to take me there. He's a big HO, he still is, rail buff, and we would go there on Saturday mornings or whatever. And I drool over their super high priced
all the brass,
kits.
all the brass ones that were in that case.
brass
yeah.
engines that are in a case, yeah,
When
yeah.
that was exploding.
we had a place here in London called Dundas Hobbies.
Yeah.
Similar thing out in the East End, and yeah, very similar. Yeah, you got all those super gorgeous steam engines
They
in
were
the brass.
very
yeah, but-
appealing.
very
And it's crazy,
expensive.
like that whole market. I remember my dad told me a story about how he saved up to get one of these brass
Oh, yeah.
engines, HO scale. It was from Japan, I think, at the time they were creating them, and he had it on layaway.
Yeah.
And
oh,
he's
yeah.
like, I had
Yeah.
to have it. It was like,
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
was so much
people do
better
it.
than the
Yeah.
plastic parts.
Exactly.
And then the bottom fell out when the Chinese producers were doing equal quality,
Yep.
but at a much better, price.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it sort of lost that kind
It's
of
like every other industry. You end up with a
Yeah.
disruptor or whatnot.
a disruptor,
A
exactly.
disruptor.
Well, some of
Okay.
those engines were like $1,500.
Yeah,
and
they were
there's
nuts.
just-
Well, some of them now, like I still follow. I don't have a layout or anything, but I still follow the industry, and yeah, there's some pretty amazing stuff that's still coming up that people are making. It's
But the prices are not like that anymore. My dad showed me
there's still some for
plastic
thousands.
kits
Yeah,
that
plastic.
he
Yeah,
judged to be just as good as
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
previously could only get
Yeah.
in brass.
Yeah.
And he said that they've just improved the
Yeah.
engineering.
I
and
think
the
part
look.
of it too is because they're not making as many now, particularly in things like estate sales or stuff like that. You're still seeing
They're
a,
coming out of the
a
woodwork.
secondary market.
Yeah, because he still runs. I know he has a collection of these brass ones that he still
yeah.
runs. But
Anyway,
yeah,
enough
So-
model railroading.
okay, that a little
A little
yeah,
Little off
we
topic.
digress.
That's all right. We do that a lot. Go for it, Anthony.
Okay, well, I mean, you're really into 3D printing, and this is super exciting. We don't know a lot about it, and I think a lot of people are not really sure how it all works. Can you tell us a little bit about what is it, and what can you do with it?
Well, 3D printing, I'm still actually learning myself. I've only been doing it for about 11 months, and there's still a lot to learn. But there is two types of 3D printing. There's FDM printing, which is you take a spool of plastic filament and melt it and print it out layer by layer on a platform, and you get your part after designing it, and everything comes out. It still has its drawbacks. It's got a little layer lines and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
so
but-
that's where we see those graded lines.
Yeah.
You have to they have to be buffed out.
you can, with some tinkering in that, you can get that to a minimum where a good coat of paint would cover it up
Oh wow!
on that.
So it is really improving.
Yeah,
too.
it is.
Yeah.
And you can print pretty much anything you want. Movable parts. You can print in different materials. I use PLA because it is the cheapest and easiest to use. There is ABS, nylon. You can get flexible filaments for doing anything from belts to running shoes if you wanted to.
Wow, that's amazing.
The other one is SLA printing, which is a resin-based printing process, which actually uses UV light to cure
Ah, okay.
the resin.
Is that what they used to refer to as I remember hearing about kits instead of casting resin kits, they'd be grown, and
Yep.
it's the light, it's
Yep.
the UV light. And they talk about you're growing a kit.
Yeah, it's basically a vat of liquid resin that has a LCD screen underneath it that actually projects a pattern, and then
Okay.
cures it for 10 to 15 seconds for each layer, and you can get very high quality resin prints depending on the size. Within some of the prints I do are 30 minutes long, but there is no layer lines to them,
Yeah.
Wow.
very easy to clean up, and
If you ever
finish
get
curing them.
if you ever get a chance, look up on YouTube. You'll see some like time lapse, like
Yeah.
speeded up ones of it doing it,
Yeah.
and it just reminds me of like something in the mad scientist lab is the thing slowly comes out.
Yeah.
You almost won't hear the guy saying it's alive, it's
Yeah.
alive.
it basically pulls the platform out of the
Yeah.
the liquid resin, it looks like it's coming out of the goo and actually just growing as it
It's
comes
absolutely
out.
amazing.
How
yeah.
satisfying is that?
Very. I find
That's
myself
amazing.
sitting there watching
It's
my
very
printers
sim-like.
just
Yeah.
do their thing, and I'm still amazed at.
That's amazing.
This
is something that's
incredible.
Yeah,
available
I'm always
to-
amazed. I've been exposed to 3D printing for about 8 years in the very early ones when they were really a hobby thing, and
Yeah.
you look how far they've come now. It's just amazing.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
exactly.
My first printer was $300 off of Amazon, and now I've got 3 FDM printers, and then I just picked up my first resin one at Christmas time for about $350 as well, and
Nice.
I'm actually enjoying what's now as a model builder. I have the freedom to actually do anything I want.
Yes. Yeah.
Well,
where
that-
I don't have to buy a Verlinden set, or if
Yeah.
there's an oddball piece
The
that I
B
can't
Club
make.
rare thing, or
If I can take the time and design it myself, I have it printed in about an hour,
Well-
hour and a half, and then I can put it on my kit and away I go.
Mhm. And you were saying, like with the design, you can design it yourself, but there's also a very large supportive community out
Yes.
there where it was originally like a maker bot. That was one of the
Yeah.
original names, where makers helping each other. There's a lot of websites that feature both things you can buy, but things you can also share, designs and that. So there's I'm just absolutely blown away by some of the stuff coming out.
About 90% of the 3D printing community is all open source.
Yeah.
Everywhere from hardware to firmware to model designs. Thingiverse, there's a dozen other free websites. that you can
Thingiverse
get.
is a dangerous place if you have a 3D printer. Our local public library, and libraries have them now where you
Yeah.
can try them.
that's true.
I made the mistake of showing my wife Thingiverse, and she's a knitter and a crocheter and that. There's so many different things you
Really?
can Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. The next morning I had an email. Oh, maybe at this point, and it was like a huge long list.
yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's very unique, the whole concept. I'll just share a slightly off topic, but it involves 3D printing. Is, for example, they have a 3D printer on the International Space Station.
Oh.
So one of the things
that makes sense.
one of the things they feature is because they can make things, they don't have to store specific things. So, for example, if you break your finger, they have to make a custom-made finger splint for you.
Yes.
So what they did was, for every astronaut who goes up on orbit on the ISS, they scan all their fingers. They have a digital copy. So if an astronaut breaks a finger while in orbit, they just send that particular pattern for that finger, and they will print it on the station's printer. So all they have to keep is a spool of a filament or whatever.
Yep.
It's the same thing in like some developing countries. Instead of having a storehouse full of 28,000 widgets, you just have your spools on what you need. So, okay. When you're doing, you've obviously got some amazing products. We're going to talk about that as well. But when you decide, okay, I want to create something new, roughly how long does it take you to create a product from design all the way to printing? So maybe go into like how long to design with the CAD, and then how long, let's say, some of these will print. So let's for example, we'll talk about the super sanding blocks, Stan,
Sure.
because yes, we are biased.
Yep. Understandable. Super sanding stand that I printed out probably took me about an hour and a half to get all the dimensions right and figure it out.
And you're doing this in a CAD program.
In a CAD program, I was using Tinkercad at the time, which is basically designed for kids and people just starting
It's
out.
a great program. I've
It
played around
is.
with it, yeah.
But very limited in what you can do because you're basically taking blocks and circles and combining them and making your parts out of that. Took me about an hour and a half to get the first design down and set it up, sliced the file, put it on the printer. Took about an hour and a half to 2 hours to print, and then within 3 hours I had a working model that I can go, okay, send the picture to Anthony, what do you think of this, and go from there.
That was amazingly fast. It took us longer to think about it than it
Yeah.
did for you to whip up a prototype.
But
that
it
was
was-
awesome. Yeah.
But it was easy enough to do that, get your feedback on it,
Yeah.
on, okay, tweak this, turn this a little bit, raise the height a little bit so you can put the logo on it, stuff like
And
that.
that's the amazing thing about these things. It was designed for rapid prototyping.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was another 10, 15 minutes, reprogrammed the file and resliced it, put it back in the printer, printed the next prototype, and sent you another picture with a couple hours from that. And
Yeah.
then more feedback. And
So you're saying for the super standing block, how big
super
you say it is? A
stand.
couple of inches to stand. Sorry,
Yeah, it's probably
3x2.
3x2. So how long would that typically take on a printer to print?
I've got it down to printing in under 2 hours.
Okay, so it's still not quick, but
No.
compared to the other things you'd have to do,
Yeah,
you can print what you want on demand.
exactly.
Yeah.
Some of the other parts I do, my sprue rack that I've designed up takes about 9.5 hours to
Because
print.
it's much larger.
Much larger, takes a lot more filament to it,
Mm-hmm.
but with the slower printing, the quality's a little bit
better.
better.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same file I use for the sanding blocks, and it just moves a little faster because it's a smaller print.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there is some tweaking that I can do to actually bring down the layer lines and that. But for tool making and that, I use a 0.24 millimeter layer line.
Yeah, and it makes sense. It's you're not having to do something that's 0.1 millimeter.
Yeah.
Like some of your other products we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Those are layer lines. Yeah.
On the super stand, I actually kind of like that look.
Yeah,
Like it's kind
so do
of
Well,
it's
it gives
clear
you some
that
grip, right?
It's clear that it came from a 3D printer, but I think that's really cool. Like I actually don't mind that. It's not like a model kit part where like yes, I need it to be smooth in order to add it to a kit or something.
Yeah.
So, and I guess the nice thing about that is it's not labor intensive. Like
No.
depending on the time, you're still just doing your initial prep work and then
And now that I have the files all set up, all I have to do is turn the printer on in the morning, hit play,
Away you go.
it prints off in a couple hours. I kick it off the build plate, fire it off again, do the next one, and
Rinse and repeat.
Yep.
What's the type of what kind of batch can you set up? Is it you set up one print job to complete and then that's the time frame, or can you do 5 at a time?
I've tried doing it 5 at a time, and I had a couple of failures. Machine wise, it wasn't the actual print itself. It was just the retractions between moving from part to part.
Yeah.
Actually cooled the plastic to the point
And I've
where
heard
it
there's
jams.
challenges. Yeah, there's been challenges with that because it's on a heated plate.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
plate slightly is heated. So imagine if it's printing your block, it prints the block, one block usually completely, right? Or if you're trying to do batches, it's skipping.
Yeah.
And as it skips,
So
it's
it's heating
cooling
up
down. Yeah.
or cooling
Yeah.
up,
Because just
yeah.
imagine it's a continuous stream.
Yeah.
Right? Imagine you've got a ketchup bottle or like squeeze bottle.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what you're doing.
And with the 3D printer, it actually pulls the filament back just enough so that it doesn't ooze to the next print, so you don't end
Exactly,
up with
yes.
strings in it.
Yeah.
And I found that the way mine is set up right now, there was too many retractions going back and forth,
And that's,
and it
so,
just jammed the printer.
Yeah.
So it was
well,
easier
that's
to
where
print
things
single
like,
at a time.
and that's where like things like resin printing eliminates that issue
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Well, let's talk some more about that. Tell us a bit how resin printing is different from the first type of machine you started out with.
Well, with the resin printing, I can print, say, a small piece. If I do a single piece on the build plate, it takes probably anywhere from half an hour to an hour.
Mhm.
If I do 9 pieces all identical, it's all the same because they're all being printed at the same time.
Ah, like
Where-
the Kshatriya
Thrusters.
rocket thrusters.
Yep, I can do either one in half an hour, or actually it takes 2 hours for those ones to print, or I can do 6 in 2 hours because they're all exactly the same, identical prints, and each layer is all done at the same time.
Oh, that's cool.
Can you briefly describe the difference with resin printing? I know we talked about it before we went on air,
Yeah.
but what the difference between a 3D printer is, which we've talked about, it slowly builds up a layer, and what a resin printer is?
A filament printer builds up layer by layer, and it goes. The resolution you can actually change from anywhere from, I think, 0.8 or 0.08 millimeters all the way up to 3 or 0.3 millimeters
Okay.
in layer height. So depending on your layer height, depends on how much time it takes, because how many layers in each piece.
Right.
So the resolution's not the greatest, but with resin printing, you can get anywhere down to 0.01 micron
Right.
or
Right.
layer level. It'll take you obviously more time to print, but each layer only takes about 8 to 10 seconds a piece.
And it's kind of the opposite to 3D printing, the way it works, right?
It pulls it out of the vat, where 3D printing with the filament, it actually raises the head or lowers the build.
So you've
plate.
actually got a vat of
Liquid.
resin,
Yep.
of liquid resin, and then it does something.
With the LCD screen, it has a pattern, and each layer has its own pattern shape,
Right.
and then it flashes an LED light through this blacked out pattern, cures one layer at a time.
And then slowly lifts
It'll
it out,
lifts it
just
up.
like Venus coming out of the water.
Exactly.
So these the resin printed parts. I'm just looking at one of your Kshatriya aftermarket thrusters, which is just awesome. With this type of resin, would you be able to work it, sand it, cut it like normal, like or what?
No different than any other resin that we buy from, say, Verlinden or.
Yeah.
And we are going to feature. We've taken quite a few pictures. We're going to feature this
Yeah.
on the gallery
These are awesome.
when we go to air here.
And these are the 1-100 Kshatriya kit.
Yep.
Replacement.
So you are going to send me the spelling of that, right?
Well, you didn't catch that?
You are going to
Yeah,
send
of
me the
course.
spelling of that.
Yes.
And the funny enough thing is, because I bought a resin kit of the Kshatriya, that is what kicked me into getting to 3D printing, because some of the parts were not the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you had
And,
you had a picture where you compared your completed one,
Yeah.
and I thought that was astounding.
Yeah.
It was really gooey and kind of chunky, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. Hard to work with.
It was a low quality print for the thrusters, and that's what got me into 3D printing. And it's-
And the other, well, while we're at it, the other product you have, those little, what are they called?
The power cables?
The power cables. Let's talk about those a little bit while we're
Not
on
sure
the
if
topic.
that's official. I'm just taking them out of the bag here.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
what the listeners are hearing me crinkle
Hearing you
crackle.
crinkle crackle.
We
We can't
should
take them
we should
anywhere.
have them while we talk about it, right?
Yeah. So you've got two sizes here, and what you've got 25 onto a 25 or so onto
yeah,
a
25 onto a like a 1 inch square.
a 1 inch square, and then so basically again the quality is just unbelievable. As I said,
love
as I was saying off air, the thing, and I've mentioned it before, there's companies that are doing like naval 1/350th anti-aircraft guns, for example.
Yeah, there's a lot of Navy ship
I love that
accessories.
because you don't have to assemble it.
Yeah.
I'm at the point where photo etch is way too fiddly, and my hat's off to these guys. Ian, I'm talking to you, our friend Ian from on the bench. Did you break it?
Just the base plate.
That's
The-
all right.
the
That's
parts are
that's
okay.
the idea. But yeah, these guys would build like photo etch Orlican guns, 20 parts, and it's
Yeah.
like, no, I'd go nuts. Where some of these stuff coming out. So basically, yeah. So as Anthony's now demonstrating, inadvertently or not,
I'm
they're
playing with these.
they're very easy to take off, and yeah, they're
So
frankly
just for listeners out there, anyone who's built a mobile suit Gundam kit like the Zaku, they have these, and they've always been a part of that, and they feature another sort of, it's a design element that shows up in our suits where they have these power cables running like from one section to another, and in the kits traditionally you've got these like really crappy rubber tubes, and they have the seam line down the end, which just stink, right? Mm-hmm. And they're just like it's like little
it's annoying.
cylinders.
It's
on a
annoying. Yeah, exactly.
and then in the old days, and we were looking at one of these earlier, you could replace, they're all so terrible, people were looking to replace them. You'd run a spring, and then you'd either cut pieces out of brass and bevel the edges. That's the type of idea.
Yeah.
Or you'd buy aftermarket ones where you pay $5 for
10 of
10,
them. Yeah.
which is not enough to do all 4 power cables that typically show up. You could do one, and they were hard to come by.
Yeah.
And these are gorgeous, right? No seam lines.
Absolutely
They have
gorgeous.
a buckle detail, which is really cool, which you don't get on the kit part.
Now you have two different sizes here. Would there, again, as the non-Gundam guy in the room, would this be for two different scales, or did they make different diameters of power cables?
They do make the different diameters, but the ones I've designed or have here, one is 1/100 scale for master grades, the Reborn 1/100 kits that the Bandai's been bringing out.
Right.
And then I also have a scaled down version for the 144 kits,
Okay.
which are more common for most people that build the kits.
For those sort of things.
Which
right?
the 144 scale kits usually have a one piece.
It's that rubbery plastic.
Either
too,
the rubbery
sometimes?
piece or it's just made out of styrene,
Yeah.
which is no flex to it, no nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically just to dress up your kits.
Yeah, well, in these here, you've got, at the one end it's slightly smaller diameter, so you can link them together and
Yep.
make them mobile as well. Anthony's
That's
Anthony's
right.
playing around with them as we speak.
Yeah, I'm
I
cleaning
will
one
take
up.
a picture of Anthony. That way you guys can see what he's doing instead of
I think in a previous conversation too, you were mentioned talking about how, so if you imagine they're on an arc, these power cables, so you'd have one end that it's either going to just go right inside the armor plating,
Yeah.
or they have some kind of bevel. They have one cylinder that's beveled, right? And
Yeah,
you were mentioning working on that.
The for around the Zaku 2's head, they've actually got a very tight radius around the face.
Yes.
So I was actually in the process of designing them on a 45 so that you can get that nice little curve
Right.
Yeah.
on the face.
Well, the picture we actually shot, we're gonna have what Gundam was that? That was the red one.
the Zaku
that's-
2.
Yeah.
That was exact. And again, we show
Shot
what it
of
looks
Zack.
like with the kit base part.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're just terrible.
Yeah, you can see the difference is obvious.
Yeah,
That's
and,
an older kit too, I would
Yeah.
say.
and that is the
20
one piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one piece we were talking
And it was
about.
kinda
So
that
it's pretty
rubbery
obvious.
material.
Yeah. No, I can see where the advantage is there. Another thing about just while we're out of talking about 3D printing, and I know we were talking this off air. One of the neat things people don't realize is a lot of the components of the 3D printer you can reprint parts. You
Yeah.
want to just touch on that briefly?
Yeah, a lot of the printers you can get, they're basic out of the box. They'll get you printing, but to make the improvements and get better quality out of them, guys have actually been tinkering around with them and getting modified parts.
Mm-hmm.
Fan ducting for part cooling, so you don't end up with layers separating because one part cools faster than the other.
Right.
And I'm guilty of it as well, is self-replicating parts off my own printer to upgrade that printer.
That's amazing.
But that is the easiest way to start learning how to use your printer,
Yeah.
is start modifying it. Get into doing what parts actually fit to you. I think my first printer, I did 4 or 5 different variations and modifications for the printer that I found off a Thingiverse or watched a YouTube video, and just tinkering around with that gets you into what you need to do for other things.
Very cool.
I don't think I have a stock printer anymore other than my
Wow.
resin
Does anyone?
printer.
I think it's one of those things no one does once
Yeah,
they've started
it-
playing about with it.
They're all heavily modified. I've changed control boards. I've changed the fan ducts. I've changed my one printer. It's a large scale printer. It does 300 by 300 millimeter base. The control box was actually a separate piece and sat off
Okay.
to the side with
Yep.
cables coming around.
Yeah.
I didn't like it because it took up too much space on my desk.
Mm-hmm.
And I went digging around on Thingiverse and a couple of other sites, and I found somebody's design that actually took everything out of that control box
Mm-hmm.
and put them underneath the printer.
Right.
So it's only, instead of a 6-inch tall box underneath, it's 2 inches tall,
Mhm.
and everything is laid out. All the fans are cooling
Yep.
it.
Yep.
But modifications printed on that printer to benefit that printer.
Exactly.
So,
No, it's kind of cool. Kind of cool. So again, just like Anthony, you have what we call a cottage business, basically. So what are the challenges you found so far in having a cottage hobby business?
just getting the name out there for now is. I know some of the ideas that I have will help other people with their modeling, stuff like that. There are things that I wish were available 10 years ago when I
yeah.
was modeling
Yep.
Yeah.
and still modeling, and now I have the opportunity to actually put those designs to practical use, get them out there and see if other people find them useful as well. And so far, this response has been good. I've only been doing it since actually the products themselves have been putting them out since October,
Right.
and so far the result has been.
Well, you're
pretty
getting,
good.
yeah. I'm hearing some good things about it, and
Yeah.
again, based on what you've been showing us here and some of the other products we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, that's awesome. I gotta say, I'm really I'm super excited about the stand. I didn't I told you this. I didn't realize how much I'd love it. It was Stuart's idea to have a stand for the super sanding blocks. So they've been around for 5 years roughly.
Yep.
And you were sort of saying, oh, you should do something where you can organize your bench. You can, and I think this ties into a lot of your other products, right? Being organized, having things at your fingertips, and you came up with that idea, and I was like, I don't. How would I approach that? I don't know what to do. I'm already busy, and I thought I had run into Sean because we did another giveaway last
we reviewed
year
your little sanding stick
with
block
your sanding
holders. They were
stick,
great. Yeah.
your sanding sticks,
And that was my first adventure into
Yeah.
3D tools.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It worked great.
And then, like we were talking about earlier, I just said, "Hey, would you be interested in doing this?" And a couple hours later, you had a prototype. I thought, "Wow,
Rapid
this is
prototyping, my
awesome."
friend.
And I thought, "Oh, this is great. Some people will like it." And we sort of had an idea because you had something in your mind, so we knew what it should have looked like.
Yeah, and basically
It's simple.
that was pretty well what it came up with. And I have to admit, I got the original idea from our good friends at FlexiFile.
Yes.
For their
Flexi stand,
their
right?
Flexi stand, which is basically some styrofoam, kind of a similar concept,
Yeah.
of just having everything.
You put your
everything at
frames
hand,
lined
yeah.
up. You have each
If
grid
I
loaded.
always say if I had more room on my bench would be cleaner. But yeah, I love having them like that, and I think it was just a natural progression.
Yeah, and that really, I mean, it does help having things handy. It makes it easier to work.
Yep.
Get right instead of you're not fumbling or digging through
Yep.
things, having everything ready to go, and that ties into your other products. Like you have the glue stand.
For the Tamiya bottles.
Yes, that fit perfectly all the Tamiya square bottles for not
Yeah.
knocking them over.
And I believe they will fit the Gunsy bottles as well.
Ooh, let's try.
Oh, there we go. Live here. Live here.
Gunsy bottles. Oh, I do have one.
There you go.
There you go. Let's look.
Let's see here. It's going in.
Oh, just.
Oh, shy.
Well, I guess I have to redesign it.
Well, you know what?
Yes.
But you know what that's neat is? Like, that'll take like all of a minute.
Exactly.
Slightly
yeah.
widen it, and away you go. So there you go. Well, before you leave today, we'll give you a measurement. of the
Actually,
bottle.
I
Yeah.
should have
Got it.
measured it because I do have that exact bottle at home.
So there you go.
It's, you know what, though?
A good
all this-
example of rapid prototyping.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All this stuff is a trial and error, figuring it out as you go.
And the
as you
community
guys
is
have
good
to.
for feedback
Yeah.
and stuff and stuff like that. All right, Anthony, you got the next question.
Yeah. So you've done the sprue stand. You've done the Tamiya tape holder, which is super cool.
Mm-hmm.
You've done the super stand. Well, so far, have you noticed which product has been the most successful or gotten the best response?
So far, the best response is actually the Super Stand, which has been
Thumbs up.
thumbs up. I've already had, since I put it up last Saturday, I've had 3 or 4 orders actually from Australia.
That's awesome.
One from Texas.
I gotta get on this because I'm carrying them too. Well, that's great.
And then the sprue rack is another one that's
Yeah.
been actually.
Awesome.
That's neat.
Well, I noticed when we posted that to our Facebook page, there was a couple of inquiries if you were going to be vending at Hamilton, and you are
Yes.
at Heritage Con and stuff like that. So I think there is a certain type of modeler, and I'm certainly one of them that like stuff like that. It just helps to organize.
It is nice to have, I've never really kind of thought of myself that way, but it is actually really nice to have, like, when I set that thing on the bench, I was like, wow, that is actually really cool.
Well,
with
it's
my
nice,
blocks, I
yeah.
can see them.
Well, your
And,
blocks were always good because you
yeah.
had the color coding, but you would just stack them.
Yeah.
So if you wanted the one at the bottom, you got to, it's a
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
world problem, but it just
Yes,
makes it
yeah.
a little bit nicer looking, a bit
It
more
just helps
organized.
helps you get into the zone.
In the zen, yeah, you zen out.
Exactly. When you're sit down, everything's right where you need it to be,
Right.
and you can start digging into your project.
And you don't-
Exactly.
And with them sitting in the stand, you actually know, hey, one's missing, where to go. Oh, I put it in a box with the other kit.
Yeah.
Yes.
If they're all stacked up, you don't notice it.
Until you're thumbing through it.
So you're
around
thumbing through
and
and trying to find that orange one or that
Yeah.
green one.
Yeah, and then
I
you got to
don't-
find out
whatever.
which kit you put it in.
Exactly.
I don't know a modeler who hasn't spilled a paint jar or
Mm-hmm.
a glue pot and
Now
It's not
here's
the
another.
worst.
I don't know if you've got this product already, but for the Microsol and Microset.
That was
That's-
one of the ones I was thinking of.
Yeah,
doing
that
was,
one's a very, because that one is,
These
I've
are-
seen other competitors, and those are so easy to tip.
Oh, yeah.
And
it
you
is.
really need, you need to make a stand that's either one bottle or also have one that's two.
Yep.
Because the Microsol and set system is a
Part
two-parter.
one, part two, yeah.
Yep, exactly. I built one out of wood years ago, just a very basic one. But yeah,
these things look really
they look
cool,
really good. I
right?
was
love
really
that they're
pleased.
3D
You've got
printed.
your logo. You've got, it's awesome. So what's your favorite product personally you've done?
The one I'm most happy about, and that so far has actually been the Tamiya tape holder.
Cool. Yeah.
Because-
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
I loaded it up with some stuff.
Oh, you loaded it up? I'll take some pictures of that. Look
And
at
I've struggled for years with all the different spools of tape on my desk.
The bottom's all just
Yeah.
random.
Well, the thing I found with the spools I have is that one of the, like I use the built-in Tamiya
Yeah.
plastic. Well, the teeth on one's broken off, and where this is, this is great. You have some really thin tape there, Anthony.
Oh
that
yeah,
Tamiya?
it's awesome. Yeah,
Is that
one
Tamiya?
1 mil. There's
Is
one
that the
mil.
1 mil?
Yeah.
'Cause I have the one for curves, which is white. I didn't realize they made one in the regular.
In the curvy tape, there's a 2 mil and a 4
Yeah,
mil.
I've got
I
that, but
think.
it's a white tape. This is like a
Yeah.
yellow tape. I didn't realize they made it
Yeah.
the yellow one.
Oh,
That's
that
awesome.
stuff's so good.
Back to the hobby store. Goodness me.
And the nice
Goodness
thing
me.
is, it's in a nice little 2x3 block
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't take up much room.
Well, exactly. Everything's there.
Everything's there, and you don't have to waste money buying a full roll of Tamiya tape. You can now buy the refills and
Exactly.
fill them up.
And just use them, yeah.
Um,
That's very cool.
And it's also designed that you can actually use it with the 40 mil wide masking tape as well.
Yeah, you can, yeah.
And it fits perfectly in there.
That's absolutely awesome. And again, great builds, nice and stable. Okay, so we're getting close to the end here. So we always ask these questions to all of our guests. So the first one is, can you take a guess at where the hobby's going to be in 5 to 10 years? And as a subset of that, because we're talking 3D printing, do you think 3D printing will kill the resin casting garage industry?
We'll start with the second question first.
Okay.
I actually see the resin printing growing
Mm-hmm.
with the cottage industry,
Okay.
because now it gives you a little more freedom to design, cast your parts. There's no more silicone molds.
Mm-hmm.
It'll make things faster for cottage guys. There's with the traditional resin casting, you had a silicone mold that usually breaks down after
So
50
many
to
shots,
100
yeah.
prints and or casts. With the resin printer, you're using the same file every time. It doesn't degrade.
Mm-hmm.
If it does get corrupted on your SD card, you have another backup. You just put it in, or you could do
Awesome.
multiple printers
Right.
at the same time printing the same part. Cleanup is a little more intensive because you actually have to give it a bath in either alcohol or some of the companies now are coming out with a water-based
Mm-hmm.
cleanup
Okay.
resin that makes everything biodegradable.
I
It
like
just
it
cleans
already.
it up. That right now is a little more expensive because of the biodegradable
and it's
part
new.
of it. And it's new,
It's like
yes.
any new technology.
And then as far as curing the resin prints, a little bit of UV light, stick it outside on your front porch on a sunny day. It cuts down on a lot of other costs as well, because
Yeah.
silicone, once it's done, it's done. You can't reuse it.
Right.
And if it breaks down or something happens to the mold, then you got to recast it. And
Mm-hmm.
and it's a lot of waste that way. With the resin printing, I can use the same vat and print multiple parts out of the same vat, and
Right.
all I have to do is just keep topping it up when it gets low. The only waste is the the casting lugs or
Yeah,
the support.
The support you
Yeah.
use, and yeah, most people know about that.
And as far as the hobby itself, right now we are at the best time to be a model builder.
Yep.
There is so many kits coming out that we never even dreamed of coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes.
Problem is, all the modelers that I know of are getting older, and I don't see as many kids getting into it
I
as.
feel like I'm getting younger.
Anthony's he's delusional at times.
Shrinking?
This is one of these
I'm
things.
close to 50 myself,
Yeah.
and I don't feel over 35.
No,
That's-
exactly. My wife says I have the mind of a 5-year-old at times. So
Yeah, yeah.
go figure.
But as far as modeling, I see it may slow down because there's not as many new modelers coming out, but the quality of the models coming out are just getting better and better.
Excellent.
Even from like the low end companies, the quality of the modeling is just getting better.
I think we're going to have one of those power cables on Anthony's Gundam pretty damn soon. He's just right into that. He's like
He's forgotten about the
he's
interview
forgotten-
with
that's
the
all
modeling.
right,
I wanted
that's
to take
all
a
right.
picture.
No, I think it's great. That
cleaning up
shows
the
you,
edge.
he likes it. So the last question we always talk about is what's currently on your bench.
Right now on my bench, I have a P-38 Lightning from Tamiya that I'm working on, that I've been working on since it came out.
That's the new one, yes.
Yeah.
I'm
hear-
liking that kit.
Yeah, I hear
Very
good
nice
things
kit.
about it.
Yeah.
I basically had the kit put together within a weekend.
Wow.
Shake and bake. To me, stuff just falls together.
Aside from a couple of aesthetic panel lines that I cleaned up myself, everything fit together so beautiful.
Nice.
Started painting it. Paints up nice. You don't see all the panel lines that are there are actually meant to be there. So they did a good job at hiding all that stuff. I've also got the Aerofix 48 scale Stuka.
Oh yes, yes.
And that's goes along with that other comment I made earlier about companies stepping up their game and becoming a lot better.
Yep.
Airfix was known as a rough kit.
Yep.
Now
Yeah.
that I forget who purchased them not too long ago.
Hornby
Hornby.
has now purchased them. Yeah, I'm an
And-
Airfix fanboy, so
And their kits in the last few years have just
Yep.
leaps and bounds over what they used to
Exactly.
have.
exactly.
And that, the Airfix Stuka was actually another one that's fallen together.
Perfect.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a current, like a more
That's a
current
newer
offering.
That's
Yeah,
a newer
within the last
release.
5 years,
yeah.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
pretty modern.
Well, it's
would
like I
say.
said when I built the Sea Hurricane. I consider it the finest Sea Hurricane 48 scale
Yeah,
in any manufacturer right now.
Yeah,
Bam.
a friend of mine just picked up the Hurricane there last weekend when
Yeah,
we were out.
beautiful
and
kit.
He was blown away at how well the detail is.
Well, and we have a we have a member in our local chapter who's building the big Hellcat, the 124th, and he says it's just fabulous. And I never thought I'd get him to admit that an Airfix kit was
Yeah, they've
good.
come a long way. They're trying to really
They
do
have.
it.
It's like anything else, starts and stops. I think the new management knows what they want
Yeah.
to do, and I think they're going to do it. We keep trying to get an interview with them. That's the running joke between us and our good
Yeah.
friends that
I've
on
been
the
close.
bench
Yeah.
for bragging rights.
Talk to a human.
Yeah, well, that's good. You're making progress. Anthony's really good at getting us our interviews. You know,
Only the
we're
best.
going to see if he can get like Justin Bieber next or something. You know, we'll see how good
Does he
it
build
is.
models?
I don't know. You never know. Okay, so we really appreciate you coming in.
Well, thanks for
and
having me.
showing us some stuff, and then of course I'm going to turn over to Anthony,
Yeah.
who's like, we're gonna have prize packs
Yes,
Talk about this.
Sean has donated graciously given us some cool stuff and we put together two prize packs.
Not one, but two.
Yep, for Patreon supporters. And the first prize pack is going to include one sprue holder, one super stand in the exclusive Goodman Models green, and one
very
of the
very rare. I understand.
Well, it's just
It's limited
you gotta,
edition. It's awesome.
you want
Yeah.
you want Goodman Green, you got to get it from my website. And then Sean also offers the base color super stand in
Black or gray.
black or gray, two base colors, and you can get custom colors.
just like when I order a Porsche, custom
Yeah.
colors.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
awesome.
Right. Also from Sean's custom model tools. But we do have a Goodman Green super stand and a Tamiya glue holder in that prize pack number 1. So that's 3 awesome products. And we're also going to do some bench reviews of those. Stuart's going to take care of that.
Yep.
And we have a second prize pack to be announced later.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But
Yes.
yeah, so when we do this interview out, we're going to mention that, and we'll do a draw for our Patreon supporters at that point. And one of them will have that winging its way via the appropriate postal service in whatever part of the world it's
The
going
good
to.
folks at Canada Post.
Canada Post will start it, and then who knows where it ends up, because we have Patreon supporters worldwide.
That's right.
So, all right. Well, thank you again, Sean, for coming in. We really appreciate that.
Thank you.
And you mentioned there's going to probably be a website coming soon?
Yes, the wife's actually volunteered to do the
Awesome.
website for me, so
There you
Awesome.
go.
That's always good. You know, make sure you buy her something nice for that.
exactly.
And all that. Keep her happy. Always keep your web person happy.
Yep.
Anthony's learned that too.
Of course.
Of course. So, all right. Well, that's great. So that's it for this time. And
Thanks for coming out.
Oh, thank you.
Well, as you heard, and as I promised, that was just an awesome interview.
You delivered.
Well, we both did. You know,
did,
it was.
yeah.
You know what? We had a good day, the three of us here.
Yeah, it was fun.
He appreciated being down here at Goodman Heavy Industries.
And we could have him back, I think.
Oh, definitely. Well, he's going to
see
have
what
some
he's
more
up to.
neat new stuff, and
Yeah.
you know, so just amazing. A really good guy, good example of the small industry.
Yeah.
And again,
Very innovative.
he'll be at quite a few shows as well. I think. There was a
We're going to be at
What's the other one? The
Mecha
one with-
Showdown.
Mecha Showdown. That's what I'm thinking. You're both going to be there.
Yeah. He's going to be, we'll all be at Heritage Con coming up in Hamilton, Ontario.
Yeah.
Mecha Showdown's in Toronto. That's coming up later in March.
A lot of cool stuff
Yeah.
happening. So that's going to be good. So, all right, moving on. Talking tools. This is all you. You suggested this one. So
Sure,
I'm gonna
yeah.
let you. I'm just going to shut up now and let you take it away.
All right,
for
for
5
sure.
seconds.
So, for tonight's addition to Talking Tools, we have Aves Epoxy Sculpt. And I believe this is sometimes referred to as Sculpey.
Okay,
I'm not sure
I've
about
heard of
that.
Sculpey.
Yeah.
I
So
haven't heard of this particular.
This is something that I've heard about too, and I picked some up a number. I heard it for years before I actually got it.
Okay.
And I finally picked it a few years ago, and it is awesome. So it's a 2-part, what would you say, not a putty, but it's like a modeling compound.
Okay.
So it's you got 2 parts. You get it in a separate sort of little containers. You mix them together in a ball, and you have this really nice sort of modeling. It looks like modeling clay, but
It's almost
isn't.
like clay, but
Yeah,
it's
it's a
more of
compound,
It's a
though,
different
right?
thing. Okay.
And it's almost like an epoxy, I think.
right.
So you can once it dries, it's super hard. You can tool it. You can while you're working it, and then when it dries, you can tap it, sand it, drill it, whatever you need to do. But so when it's still kind of workable, it's very smooth. It's very easy to tool. I've got some of those wooden clay tools. I use that to push it around sometimes.
Okay. Yep.
And it is really nice. And then they also have a like an official, where do I put it? Let's see what they say here. It's the safety solvent, and I got this down at Wonderfest from the Aves sort of like dealer, and I bought the little test pack, and then he also the vendor there said, hey, get the safety solvent. It's for smoothing and seamlessly feathering and texturing and tooling your Aves epoxy products, and it actually was really worth it. So I got a little jar or a little bottle of it, I think, and it actually is very nice. It's just kind of like a liquid that you can use to kind of do a final smooth. So I just used this yesterday, I think.
So
on Quincy Road.
what sort of things would you use it for?
Okay, so this
sculpting?
is for basically like sculpting new parts.
Okay.
So if you're scratch build, I know a lot of figures love this stuff. So if you had to make like organic features like on a figure, like clothing or hair or something,
Okay.
you could get a ball of this and then kind of
sculpt
turn
it
it into
yourself.
something, right?
So you could use it because I think I remember hearing people like they'll use it for like seat cushions for like
Yeah,
ejector seats
absolutely.
and stuff like that.
Anything that you would use normal like a 2-part epoxies for to create, like stowage, for example.
Right.
But honestly, anything. I used it. I kind of made a little bead of it, and I used it in a seam on the Quincy Row kit. It just wasn't a tight fit after I glued it together, and it just needed a little bit of seam.
So you're
and then I
actually
kind of
using it as a
worked it
filler.
in. Yeah,
Okay.
I worked it as a
Interesting.
gap filler, and it was very easy to. The next day, I was able to kind of sand it and then have a
Sands
nice
easy
blended,
and-
smooth,
okay.
smooth seam.
All right.
But it just works the way you want.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with the safety solvent, their official kind of smoothing agent,
Right.
it's even better.
So what sort of working time would this be? You say like it's like a 2-part epoxy.
Yeah,
Once you mix it together,
I bet you there's some information on that.
it's probably okay. But more than enough time for you to.
Yeah,
do
you
what you
definitely
have
have
to do.
you have a chance to work it. It's not like 5-minute epoxy glue
Okay.
where it's
So
like
you have
you're
some time
rushing
to
against
properly
the clock.
sculpt it. So like if you were sculpting something like, I should say something for a figure,
Yeah,
you might need a little bit more time. Okay, I'm just curious. So
Yeah.
it's not like a fast
that's a good
thing.
question though.
Yeah, okay. Well,
I'll
that's
look at the,
good. Well, they might have it on their website too.
I'll bet you. Oh, here's your working time:
Look at that.
1 to 3 hours.
Okay, so that's cool.
It's got 0 shrinkage,
Mm-hmm.
which is true.
Well, shrinkage is bad,
Yeah,
especially when you get,
no
especially when you get to our age.
It's shrinkage. So I can tell you about what it says here right on
Yeah.
the. They do call it a modeling compound,
Okay.
and you get the features and benefits of sculpting clay,
Mm-hmm.
but with the power of epoxy. Because clay, obviously, like what can you do with clay and modeling? Like, I mean, I guess for like in the art world, they bake it. And
Yeah, they bake
do
it. Some
stuff, but,
people,
like,
and I know some people do it.
yeah,
Don't
but
get me wrong, but
not
you
for
want some.
modeling
Yeah, it's a bit
purposes.
more of a. Well, there's a bit more work to it, right? Like with
Yeah.
clay, as you say, you have to bake it.
I don't know how you would
Well,
incorporate that.
I
into a
know
model kit.
people when they build dollhouses, they used to use clay quite a bit.
Oh, okay.
Again, they'd have to
But then
bake it.
you're limited. You can't mix it. You can't like add it to your resin kit or your plastic kit.
No,
or
it'd be like an
something, right?
add-on or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
So this stuff self hardens,
Okay.
and it cures in 24 hours,
Mm-hmm.
and then adheres to nearly any surface. So yeah, works great with texture stamps, molds, paints, stains, mica powders. So you really can do a lot: sculpts, bonding and filling, almost anything. Yeah, and that's what I've been doing with it. It is it's very smooth after you sand it. So that's why I think it's a superior
Okay.
material for model builders. Like, do you remember the old was it Squadron putty?
Squadron putty,
Oh my
yeah.
goodness.
Yeah, and the old green putty use a gap filler.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I use.
I never had the gap filler. I had the one.
Well, people would use it as a.
I had
gap
the English
filler.
one that was kind of like a weird yellowy tan color. It was just brutal.
Oh yeah.
Was it not? I think every modeler
I'm drawing
had
a
some of
blank
that
on
stuff.
that. Yeah, that was scary stuff.
But it wasn't It wasn't Squadron Green. It was
Well, Squadron did a green putty.
I thought it was Squadron that old. But man, that stuff was just brutal.
Oh yeah,
I'm
there
trying
was
to-
different ones over the years.
I was making actually it was on my GM2 my Sniper 2 conversion where I had to sculpt, like I had a different shape to the armor on the chest, and then the base kit I was using it was a pretty like significant conversion, and I made it out of that stuff, and it was just brutal. There was a
Was it?
2-part. It was like
Yeah.
one green stick and one yellow stick.
yeah, I know what
and
you're
you cut a
talking
piece off
about.
and rubbed it all together.
I know what you're
Oh,
talking
it was
about.
so hard to
what was
work
the
with,
name?
and it just was all
I think you can
chunky.
still get it. And again, it's
It had
it's
an
for one of
orange
those-
box.
Yeah, it's for one of those things. I think our friends at FlexiFile may have it. I know what you're talking about. Because I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah.
about now.
So that stuff, I found that stuff. I don't know if it was just me because I was
Well, again,
a newbie.
different people, different ways, right?
But now discovering the Aves epoxy sculpt, it is awesome for any kind of that work. So I really recommend it. And I just got the little sample size, and you can get it. People buy in these big, large tubs.
Yeah,
So you get
yeah.
it costs a bit, but I'm thinking this little pack. I think it was $12 US dollars, and then I bought the safety solvent separate, and it was maybe $5 or $6 US dollars. But I mean, you get used to using it in such small amounts. Like I'm quite careful with how much because once you've mixed it, it's sort of done. It's gonna
yeah,
set.
it's gonna do the.
And then
Was it Milliput?
Milliput.
That's what it
Oh
was.
my goodness.
Yeah, there we go.
Is
That's
it just
what it was.
me, or is that stuff brutal?
Yeah, it was. No, I remember using it. I wasn't a big fan of it.
Yeah.
That's why I like the perfect plastic putty now. It's not. It's
Yeah, but
water based
You
and
can't
it just.
like sculpt
No,
big
no,
pieces of something
exactly,
with that, right? That's a
exactly,
filler.
But yeah, those are like really old school. Like the Model
Milliput,
Railway
yeah.
guys would have used it. To me,
Milliput, I bought it. It must have been the early '90s.
oh yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's
it
been
was
around
just
forever.
chunky.
It's been around for
Yeah.
forever. Like if you look at all the different putties over the years,
Yeah.
Tamiya made some.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a YouTube video. There's the Squadron.
Yeah, Squadron Green.
Mr. Color, Mr. Hobby made some.
Yeah.
There's all
so,
sorts.
Like, I've used the Tamiya
Milliput. God, yeah.
quick putty, and that stuff's really good too. But this is almost a bit different.
Maybe I blanked it out because I removed it from my timeline.
I'm pretty sure I threw it out. I said,
Yeah.
no, don't stop
I've
trying
had
that.
mixed results. Like I said, I really like the
Yeah.
perfect for what I'm doing. The perfect putty. Again,
But
your
this
mileage
is
may
definitely
vary.
more. Look, I just did some gap filling with it, but definitely when you're trying to create something with some bulk and that has some size, like you're trying to craft your own part, you can totally take your super sanding blocks and get square edges.
Yeah.
Or
But the milliput is what
yeah.
people would use for sculpting too. Now that I'm looking back at some videos,
Well,
we're looking
Aves, way
yeah,
superior.
similar things,
Yeah,
like
so if you wanted to make figures, sandbags,
yeah, that's what people use the milliput.
You could use
so
this
this
stuff.
stuff's far better.
Yeah, you could use this stuff to create
Okay.
figures and
Yeah,
make limbs in your own.
So it's
like,
a modern,
custom.
it's a better and modern version of
Yeah,
milliput for
and I
yourself.
think it's been around for a while too.
Maybe, but
that's
I
this
confess
week's-
I hadn't
yeah.
heard about it until you threw it
Oh
up
yeah,
here.
it's awesome. Well,
So
I
that's
see.
good.
I heard it from some higher echelon modelers and I was
Higher echelon
listening in
modelers
on their secrets.
whose names will remain
Yeah.
nameless because we don't want to go into their heads.
Well, it was from Wonderfest. People have been talking about it. And,
We'll
and then I
still say
found
so
it.
that it doesn't go to
Yeah.
their heads.
Yes.
We're kidding,
Yeah.
of course.
There you go.
So we're going to
Talking
have a
those.
link to that. We'll have a photo of what Anthony's looks like.
Yes, sir.
We'll go from there. Okay, moving on. What's on the bench?
What's on your bench?
So I haven't had a ton of time because I've been working on video editing and stuff for the website, but a little bit of work on the Valkyrie still, slowly but
Nice.
surely. I really find what's interesting is the Bandai instructions, and I was talking about this.
Hasegawa?
Sorry, the Hasegawa instructions.
Bandai
The
does make Valkyries, so
Yeah, but I'm saying the Japanese instructions. Some of them, the modern kits now at least have some of the important stuff in English. Or the older stuff, some of the important stuff's in Japanese.
Yeah.
So, for example, I'm glad I caught it. I think I mentioned to you
Yes.
a week or two ago when I was doing the gun pod. So
Yeah.
the way the instructions is the gun pod gives you two different handles. One's for
mounting it to the plane.
for mounting it to the plane,
and one
one's
is
for the trigger and everything.
When it's
So
in
I'm mounting
Bactroid
it to the
form.
plane. So then I'm at the point in the kit
Yeah.
where I've got the two engine things, and the gun pod eventually goes into those. Okay,
Yeah.
so the instructions, say there's two little parts that go on either engine thing, and there's a bit of text in Japanese.
Yeah.
Well, I'm about to do it, and I thought, wait a minute, and I
mount
move
the gun.
ahead. Well,
Yeah.
if you're putting the gun pod on, you have to keep
Omit
one of those off.
One of those.
And it does say that, but I guess the newer instructions actually have it in English now.
Really?
So that was
That
interesting.
kit might be 20 years old.
Oh, it is. It's a
2001?
Yeah, it's a very old mold, which is fine. So
I wouldn't say
again,
very old, but
well, it's up there. But it's it's slowly but surely. Now, I was originally going to do it in like maybe a very light ghost gray, just so I could.
yeah.
But now that we're talking about the Aqueous, I'm going to try the off-white. Go back to the
Because
original
originally you were
scheme.
talking about the max type.
Well, I was going to do the max type with the striping, but I still wasn't happy about doing it in white. I'm not a
Yeah.
big fan of pure white. But if the off-white, I'm going to try. I might look at trying the new Aqueous off-white
Yeah.
and seeing how that looks. And again, putting the decals. So right now where I am, and I'm still putting some of the assemblies together. I just primed the two tail fins in a light ghost gray, the styrens, and then I was going to do, like I said, a light ghost gray. I had some old Aqueous that looks still in good shape. I was going to do that, but I think I'm going to hold off now.
see
Maybe a
what's-
week or two. Try
The
the
max
off-white.
is very attractive.
Yeah, the scheme looks good, so I might
Max type.
look at that. So it's coming together very nicely. We are waiting for the mass set, so when I do that part, so that's going to be fun. The other thing I mentioned is I did find the Spitfire,
Yes.
the canopy for that. So I might work on that this week if I'll get as much as I can done on the Valkyrie
Yeah.
if I have time, and if not, I'll go back to the Spitfire. Now that I have this open canopy.
Yeah.
And it can be prepped for priming and that. We're really at
you're
the point.
you're close.
We're really at the point where all that's
Send it
left
home.
is the painting, landing gear stuff like that.
That's
so
awesome.
we were at that point. So and then eventually I'll figure out. I've got a few other things in the pipe. I just picked up not long ago. I believe it's 1 to 14,500. The Star Destroyer,
Okay.
the little Bandai Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
Picked that up at Near
Yeah, fun
Tokyo.
kit.
Yeah, so I've done a photo thing. I got to do a video review on that.
Yeah.
So a nice quick build, and there's a couple other ones. I'm thinking there might be a 48 scale. I have an old Italeri 48 scale Skyhawk.
Oh yeah.
I might pull that
Beautiful.
out. Either one of those or some armor. I haven't decided yet.
Yeah.
But take it slow and see. And of course, the other thing I've got to think about, we'll probably find out at Heritage Con, because the members of IPMS Hamilton are picking the Moosaroo Cup
Oh,
kits.
fun.
And it's myself and Ian. So I have to make sure I give some time for that.
And then Julian.
Sorry, it's Julian. That's right.
Julian.
Ian was you and Ian. So yeah, we'll see what I can come up with.
Stiff competition.
Well, yeah, Julian's quite a good modeler. So yeah, but it'll be
very
interesting to
talented.
see. The boys at IPMS Hamilton have promised to do something interesting.
Oh.
So we'll wait and see what happens. I've got to coordinate with Alan Merle, the president. We had him on a couple episodes ago.
Yes.
We'll see if we can do like a live announcement or something.
Oh,
At the show. We'll see what we can do. So we'll see what happens there.
Yes.
So what do you have on yours?
Well, I've been, I gotta say, I am
busy.
really enjoying the Quincy Row. I'm also working on John Moscato's 1 to 48th M72 Gabriel heavy unit.
Yes.
So working on that. That is also a very fascinating.
Well, and we had the great interview.
we had an awesome. But that hasn't
We
been
haven't-
on yet.
I don't think it's been on yet. We're
Hasn't
gonna hear
been
that
on
soon.
yet. It's
Yeah.
coming.
It's coming soon.
listeners.
We've had so many people, so many interviews
Yeah.
this last couple of weeks.
So that we did an interview with John about this kit, which is a
Coming
unique
soon.
creation.
Yeah.
It's coming soon. I was lucky enough to get sort of an advanced
It's
copy
yeah,
of it.
and we've done we've done a video review.
We've done it. Yeah,
we're
we've
gonna
done a
post
kit
that
review.
probably within a week.
That's coming up as well, and I've been working on it. I'm trying to balance between the two. To help John out, so he wanted to get some photographs.
I know you're just having a ball with these.
Oh, I'm loving the Quaidloon. It's so good. I actually rewatched there's a really well done episode 18 of Macross.
Okay.
I'm not sure what they call it in Japanese, but it's called Farewell Big Brother.
Okay.
In the Robotech version. And it's just this amazing dogfight between the Quaidloon and actually Max's Valkyrie. And just seeing it in all its glory.
Very cool.
And it's awesome. So I'm rocking away on that thing, and then slowly chipping away at the cleanup. So just really cleanup right now.
Yep.
Of the,
And you're taking photos and
Gabriel.
stuff like that. Yeah.
And I
You've
think
posted a few. And
the Gabriel resin kit is just a real. It's just really innovative. I've never seen a kit like that before. It's very creative, and I think we're gonna pick that up. Our next installment of the in-depth report is we're gonna focus on that.
We're gonna focus on those. Yep.
When it's at the right point. So that's still coming. And that's it. I've put my Stark Dragon sort of on hold.
For now. Yeah. Well, we've got, you person, your build queue, and us for the podcast. We have so much. It just seems like everyone's come in with some interesting stuff they want us to take a look at, and we're happy to do it.
Yes.
So we're trying to balance things out. I know our next podcast will have an interview with Alan Murrell from Heritage Con.
Mm-hmm.
We were just talking about Alan because we are the official podcast of Heritage Con.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to be down there and
doing some interviews.
Some exciting
news.
stuff. So so we'll let Alan talk about that. But yeah, we're going to be down there, so feel free to come and see us.
Absolutely.
So that's what's on everyone's bench. Sites and tips.
Yeah.
You go ahead.
So there's a new book about the Tamiya 148th P38 Lightning, and it's featuring our good friend Brett Green's model inside.
Right.
It looks like an awesome book. It's from ADH Publishing. I think it's either coming out or just released. It looks beautiful, and it's sort of a companion piece to the Tamiya kit.
I know it's based on Brett's series, so it is a pre-order.
Okay. Yes.
So Marcus
coming
Nichols
soon.
is the author, but yeah, you're going to have Brett and several other people's models, and
Yeah.
Spencer Pollard,
Yes.
who also does books. So it's
Yeah.
very similar to his other series. Yeah.
It's a really nice looking guide. So that's a hot kit right now. I'd like to do one. It's a beautiful bird. And so, this is, you want to kind of get the most out of that build, and why not pick up a nice book.
Well, and
get some
apparently,
ideas.
it covers 4 complete builds, including adding photo etch parts, resin upgrades, extending the nose undercarriage leg, upgrading the cockpit, weathering the airframe, alternate decal sets. You look at some of this stuff, like
Yeah, it's
they show the
pretty
photo etch gun barrels. and-
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous kit. It's going to be just under 16 pounds in England.
Okay.
So apply
25,
your about
$30,
25. Yeah,
let's
apply
say.
about that. So apply your local currency. Yeah. But again, a good series of books. We did have Brett on as a guest a while back, and we talked about these
Yeah.
books.
Yeah. They're awesome.
They're really, really good. And this is from ADH Publishing.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely check
So you've
that
got
out.
a link there for
Yep.
listeners to check it out. And then I also had recently watched a a documentary about the P-38 called Lightning Strikes. I just caught it on YouTube. I think it was a History Channel production, but the quality was pretty nice, and it was very interesting. Like, that plane has a really interesting history.
And
it's gorgeous.
It's the plane that killed Yamamoto.
That's right. Yeah,
It was the plane
and it
that
had a
killed
lot.
Yamamoto and a
there was
lot
a
of
lot
history.
of copies of it produced, or whatever.
Yep.
A lot of numbers.
Well, and it was and here's something people may not know. It was designed by Kelly Johnson,
yeah.
who later went on to design the U-2 and the SR-71.
And it was heavily modified by Charles Lindbergh.
Charles
famous
Lindbergh did
pilot.
some stuff to improve the
Yeah.
performance from. So it's
Yeah,
a
very
very
interesting.
very famous aircraft, very unique aircraft when it came out.
Yeah.
Very unique.
So that's a great. I just popped it on while I was
Yeah.
working on something and listened along and occasionally looked up. But yeah, it was a good documentary.
That's awesome. So as always, you can get the show notes with all these links. We're going to include the galleries in that. Make sure you check out scalemodelpodcast.com because we do have the show notes there. You can actually listen to the show there if you want it.
Yeah. Always posted out and updated.
Always post it. We do have the email. So as always, don't forget to subscribe and let us know if you have any suggestions. Slip us an email, scalemodelpodcast@gmail.com. All emails are read, really.
Yep.
Occasionally replied to, but all emails are read. We currently record bi-weekly. It's available where your favorite podcasts are found. iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, but also we're on Spotify now, as I mentioned before, as well as on the website. And as I said, we publish extra video content, and we also do complete episodes on YouTube, because some people just would rather just hear us on YouTube. They'll fire up YouTube and they'll throw it on. I had some emails about that, so we always make sure we do that. We have a Facebook page. Don't forget to like and subscribe at facebook.com/scalemodelpodcast. And we also have a Patreon page, which helps offset our hosting costs
It really
and stuff
does.
like that. We really appreciate our Patreon supporters, and we do try and do giveaways and prize draws and stuff like that.
There's one coming up. That's
There's
going to be a
one for
Patreon
exclusively
special.
for Patreons.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be probably 2 episodes away. We're gonna do that probably around the
Just
time of
hints
Heritage
to
Con.
tantalize you right now.
Yeah, I think we'll do that because that's the same. The weekend we normally record 2 episodes from now would be when we're down for Heritage Con.
Yeah.
So we're not sure how we're going
It's
to do
coming.
that. Yeah.
Be on the lookout,
Heritage
listeners.
Con's on a Sunday, so I don't know if we'll do a show on a Monday or a Saturday. We'll figure it
We'll
out.
see. It's going to be like model burnout after
It
that.
will be.
I find.
It will be. It will be.
Yeah.
But it should be a good day.
Yeah.
And as I say, do make sure if you want, you can go to the website, scalemodelpodcast.com, and you can subscribe using your email, and then you get an email anytime we release something.
Yep.
Because I think I had 3 posts this week.
And we only release the good stuff, so it won't
Only
be
the
like
good
where you get too many emails.
No, we definitely try not to. We won't spam you. We won't offer you, $1 million if you answer this question.
Yeah.
Not to worry. And then just before we go, we just want to give a shout out
Yep.
to our very good friends at the other podcast. So first, the boys at On the Bench.
Yeah.
Dave made it back.
Yeah, we had a
safe and
great
sound.
time with
He had a
Dave.
great time. He really enjoyed it. The boys down there missed him
Yeah.
greatly. So he's, check them out at On the Bench. You can do a Google search, you'll find them. They do roughly bi-weekly as well. They do the off weeks.
Yeah.
So they just had theirs. And then we have our good friends at Plastic Model Mojo. I always want to say Scale Model Mojo. I don't know why.
Model Mojo.
.com.
PPM.
I know, but I always want to say
PMM.
Scale Model Mojo. But this is Michael and Dave
Yeah.
down Kentucky Way, Tennessee, Kentucky Way. They always start out with what modeling fluid they're drinking. So I learned so much more about good Kentucky bourbons. They just
We're gonna have to have a drink. I have some.
So we're gonna do that too. So they just dropped their episode today.
Yeah.
They were recording this on the 29th, and their episode this time is on American kit manufacturers.
Looking for. I gotta say I haven't listened to these yet, but I'm looking forward to them.
Oh, Anthony, you
I
gotta
gotta
listen
catch
to
up.
him. You gotta catch up. I'll make sure Boise catches up.
I'll do it.
You can't have any bourbon until you catch up.
Okay.
All right, but no, these are awesome too. A nice, unique, both of them are just amazing modelers.
Awesome.
They both bring a unique thing. So you can check them out again at all your normal podcast places or at plasticmodelingmojo.com. And then last but certainly not least, our good friends over in the UK at the Scale Model Shed. And this is three lads here, 3 likely lads, as Dave in Australia calls them. They've just had their website come out. So scalemodelshed.com. So it's Dan, Graham, and Ivan. And they do not only regular podcasts. They originally started with once a month, but I think they're doing like every 3 weeks. But they're also doing some little product reviews.
Nice.
So they dropped episode 4 on the 14th, but they also did a audio review of Academy's 1/48 scale B25D Mitchell.
Nice.
And they've covered quite a few things. And again, from the European scene, they do a great job. Ignore the scary pictures of them.
I look so unhappy.
I
You
know,
should be
we've-
having more fun.
Well, Graham and Dave. Ivan looks pretty happy, but Graham and Dave, yeah, don't be afraid. There's some wonderful pictures of the lads there. They look very, very serious.
I jest.
I know, we
they're
do.
having fun.
So again, check them out at scalemodelpodcast.com. So
Yeah.
we all like to support each other. And now one of the things because I just finished listening to On the Bench,
Yes.
and one of the suggestions Dave had.
Oh, I like this one.
Yeah, this is after we do the Moosaroo Cup 2. Maybe we'll do a Moosaroo Cup Worldwide edition. So we'll get all four international. We'll get all 4 podcasters
4-way.
to select someone,
Yeah.
and then we'll do it. Now we'll have to figure out logistics like judging and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's easy.
Yeah, but we'll figure that out. So it might be something we're going to work on. So hopefully the other lads, they'll hear this and they'll think of some ideas, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Exactly. That could be very interesting. Wouldn't it be cool one day if we could get everyone all together? Logistically, it'd be very hard, but it'd be kind of cool. Well, I always say
Certainly, we can have a modeling competition.
yeah, I always say if I make it down to Wonderfest, that's part of my bucket list. We can definitely go see Mike and Dave.
Yeah, we will. I
Mike
think
and Dave
that's
has already said that.
I think that's probably
doable.
very likely.
That's doable. Yeah, we've already met Dave, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was great.
And
Great time.
again, we really, and this is one thing I love about the modeling community in general. And Dave said the same thing when he was up here. We're all modelers, and we all have a good time. It's all very supportive. You may have competitions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But just generally, the community is absolutely awesome.
It's about having fun, right?
Yeah, it
Exploring
is. And just some of the,
being
the
creative.
generosity. I always look at on some of the Facebook groups, someone will say, "Oh, I've missed a part," or "I'm missing a part," or instructions, and someone will say,
Yeah.
"Oh, just let me know your address. I'll mail you it."
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
You
It's
see
really
that all the time.
yeah, it's really good to see. Okay, well, that's enough rambling from me. So, for episode 41 of the Scale Model Podcast, my name is Stuart Clark.
And I'm Anthony Goodman.
Thank you, and be well.